All right, everybody. Welcome in to another Baseball and Coffee. Sorry I was a little late dealing with a little audio problems with our guest, but we got that straightened out. So I'm going to bring him on in here straight away because why wait around? And then we'll just start the show and we'll get it going. So let me hop over here and then I'm going to paste said guest, Mr. Shane Greene, here into the stream. So let's see if he pops up here. One second. Oh, let me go. You know what? Let me go recopy that link. This will work. All right. Let's see here. What's up, bro? There we go. We got you in. We got you in. All right. So I don't typically have people in right like at the very beginning of the show. So let me just run through the standings and stuff with the people, so a few people can get in the chat, and then we'll start chatting. But I'm pumped to have you on, and thanks for joining us. All right, perfect. All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's good in the chat. I see a lot of people in here. I see you, Spectre, talking about you got autographs last night. Evan Phillips. We could get him on. That would be dope. We got another quote-unquote failed starter. We'll talk about that with Shane in a minute, along with myself. So let me pop over to the standings real quick. We'll get everybody up to speed on that, and then me and Shane will chat for a bit here. So here is where we are. What's today? Monday, June 29th? Yeah, all right. So Tampa now has taken over the Yankees. Can't hear you. Oh, okay. Okay, got you. Now you're going to be able to hear him. My dad's always doing this screaming sound into the chat. All right. Tampa Bay Rays, one game up on the Yankees. Yankees had a disastrous series just now in Boston. They lost all 4 of those games. I still think they're the best team in the American League, but this was a jolt to the system, obviously. And White Sox tied for first with the Guardians in the Central. Minnesota lurking, but we don't buy into that. Texas, half game up on the Mariners, who are faltering. We don't know why. They should not be under 500. They're way too good for that. Houston and A's, that's very jumbled. Braves, 3 games up on the Phillies. Only 3 up on the Phillies. That's kind of scary, to be honest with you. They had, like an 11, 12-game lead recently. 6 games back are the Marlins, who are actually lurking quite a bit, I would say, as well. Brewers, who I'll be doing their game on Wednesday night, they are 50-31. They're a juggernaut. They're 5.5 up on the Cubs. They just played the Cubs. And then the Dodgers, 10 up on the Padres. They're running away with it. The only question is, how many games will the Dodgers win this by? So anyway, that's our update on the standings. We have Shane Greene in here. Don't know if he's actually retired or not, but that's the question everybody's been wondering, I guess, over the past while. I've been watching your YouTube content. We saw each other at the East-West game. But here we are. You've been doing your YouTubing, which has been awesome, kind of showing the real, the raw, what's actually goes on down the stretch of somebody's career when they're trying to hang on or figure out what the next steps are. Went to DR, went to Mexico. I think some things are still ruminating in that brain a little bit, but how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. We're not using the R word yet, but we are not actively training to pitch. So, life is good. Um, I'm doing the content thing. I'm doing really right now, I'm doing whatever anybody will let me do, you know? So doing the content thing, doing some coaching on the side. I got some high school kids that I've been working with for the last couple of years on like some mental stuff. So that helps me feel purpose. I got Joe Jimenez lives in Orlando now. Obviously, I play with him in Detroit, and he's rehabbing. He had back-to-back-to-back knee surgeries that he's trying to come back from, and I've lived here my whole life. So he reached out to me asking, "Do I know people, or can I help him with his throwing program coming back from that?" So I've been throwing with him every other day for the last couple months. So like I am throwing. Anything could happen. But not currently pursuing a job. But if somebody were to call, I'll show up.
Yeah, no, I feel you. You're in a similar spot to where I was last year at the beginning of the year. There comes a point where you're like, training and what it takes to do this job and to be your best out there is a big commitment. You got to do a lot, and it's hard when you're kind of in between. But you're doing more than I was doing. You're throwing, so that's good. How does Joe look? I
Yeah.
mean, we've been missing Joe for a while. I know he had some knee problems, right, and a whole bunch of stuff
Well,
with Atlanta.
yeah, no, he looks good, man. We've been throwing for my timelines are all jacked up, but probably for like 2 months now.
Nice.
And at the beginning, and he'd probably be mad at me if I said this, but at the beginning, I could tell he was being a little cautious, because it's his land leg that he had the surgery on.
Yeah.
So the first couple times we threw, you could tell he was a little iffy about it, but now, man, he looks strong, and I'm not exactly sure when he plans on getting on the mound because I think the timeline now is like I'm not sure if he'd even be able to have some rehab stuff at the end of the year. So I think he's like in a perfect world, he's just shooting for winter ball. And if he gets ready early, maybe he can get some rehab games in before the end of the season. But that question is really for him, I guess. But he definitely looks strong now. Like
Yeah.
if you didn't know now, you would just think
He's
he's
healthy.
working. Like yeah, like he's moving way better now than he was. So he's made huge strides really quickly in just a little bit of time I've been throwing with him. So I'm excited to see him get back out there, man.
He's a
He's still
beast.
young. He's still young. He's got a live arm. He's always had a live fastball.
Yeah.
An ultimate competitor. So we just got to get him back out there.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's good. It's good that you're working with him. That anybody can use a veteran with experience to help him out. He was a young guy in Detroit when you were there, and
Yeah,
at the time, he came up. He's the big dude. He's got the big fastball, and yeah, a little inconsistency there, but he found it in Atlanta, and then they just kept bringing him back. They were like, "Hey, you got to
yeah,
come on right back because you're
yeah,
nasty." And he was one of their dogs. I'd say one of their top five guys over the past several seasons when he was healthy. So good to hear that he's on the way back. They're in a good spot, but they got the Phillies hot on their tail, so we'll see how that goes. That'll be
yeah. The
interesting.
Phillies are heating up, aren't they?
Yeah, they're three back. They were where the Mets were not that long ago, and now they're three back.
Yeah.
So one thing that I've been noticing covering baseball now is I covered 3 of the 4 Yankee games this weekend where they got swept by the Red Sox.
Hmm.
You almost forget when you're not in it, like how long it is and how much time there really is to right the ship for a team. Like
Yeah.
I was burying the Red Sox, but then they just had such an impressive last 4 games, and they're and in the wild card standings, they're not that far back. Like I was like, damn, like it's crazy. Just like you forget, like especially within a
A
week
lot of
with
baseball left.
yeah, it's still a lot of baseball left. That's the thing. We're only halfway through, and if you're a Red Sox fan, you're looking at this 4.5 games back number here, and you're like, oh, we can do this. Like that's not impossible. So
No doubt. How
it's
many how many
crazy.
games are how many games are left?
I think it literally we're just hit the halfway point. It's like 81 left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
anything can still happen.
yeah, anything could still
Especially
happen.
especially in division, we're still playing each other. You run into a couple sweeps, you run away with it.
I mean, it's so true. And right now in the American League in particular, there's not a lot of teams with great records. So because of the expanded playoffs, like in the era that we came up to the big leagues, there wasn't this many teams that made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's just a different dynamic now. You can run down and feel like you're in it for that last spot, which is crazy. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at in this season. But let's rewind a little bit and let's talk about your journey from the beginning. So originally drafted out of Daytona.
Daytona
Is,
State, baby.
is that a D? What is that? Is that a JUCO?
It's so when I went there it actually just turned into a 4-year school,
Right.
but it was my whole life it was a community college, and I'm not exactly sure how like the oh we're a 4-year school now even really works or what it means, but it was a JUCO. You got to kind of know what happened before that to understand what happened there. So my freshman year I went to the University of West Florida, which is in Pensacola, Division II. I threw like 27 innings or 30 innings, somewhere around there, as a freshman. But I was having some crazy arm problems, like my elbow was killing me. So went and saw the team doctor, found out I needed Tommy John. A whole bunch of crazy stuff happened, and then essentially I decided to have the surgery. But the baseball program there, the head coach told me that he was going to take my scholarship away from me, and then I could earn it back when I could pitch again. So I'm like, well, if I'm gonna pay for school, I'd rather just be closer to home, I guess. So I transferred to Daytona Beach, where I spoke to the coach there, and he basically allowed me to come there with a chance to walk on the following year, but I could use the facilities. So like I was on the team, but I wasn't really on the team. So they had at Daytona Beach at the time, they had like crazy baseball player rules where like if you were on the team, you had to sit in the front row of the class, collared shirt tucked in, the whole deal. I was in the back of the class with a hoodie on, so like I wasn't actually on the team,
Yeah.
but I was able to use the facilities. And so I went and I did all my rehab there, and then the following summer, which would be the summer before I could pitch again, like I just started throwing off the mound again. Um, I was playing in the collegiate league here in Orlando, but I knew a Yankee scout from when I was a kid. So reached out to him like, "Hey, I'm trying to get on a scholarship again. Do you know any coaches at a university or even like a JUCO well enough that you could just recommend me to them?" He's like, "Yeah, but I gotta watch you throw to know what I'm talking about." So threw a bullpen for him, and then it happened pretty quick. Threw a bullpen for him, and a month later I got drafted.
That's yeah, by the Yankees too.
Yeah, by the Yankees, 15th round.
It's wild. It's just crazy because like
Yeah.
you look at it now, and like a lot of people think they have to get in front of, like they have to be at the big school, and it's really not true. They'll
Yeah.
find you
Well, a
where you're
lot of it's
at.
timing too. A
Yeah.
lot of it's timing, like for me, I was my second bullpen after surgery, and basically asked a family friend to just help a brother out,
To
and
catch
I
you?
threw a bullpen. Well, my best friend was catching me, but the family friend was the scout at the time. When I was 9 years old, he was still playing. He was in AAA with the Yankees, and I used to go to him for hitting lessons, which obviously didn't pan out. But by this time, I was in college. He was a scout, and so I hit him up and asked him like, "Can you just watch me throw?" And then I threw, and that was the first time in my life I'd ever thrown over 89 miles an hour. I hit 92. He basically was like, "When can you do this again?" I'm like, "Man, I don't know. I'm literally doing the rehab basically on my own. Like I have this pamphlet of papers like this stacked this high that Dr. Andrews gave me, but I'm just kind of winging it. So give me like a week." So the following week I threw another bullpen. It was my third bullpen after surgery. He brought a cross checker, and then that's when they're like, "Hey, come to the complex." I went to the complex, faced some extended spring training guys like 10 days before the draft. And then that day I hit 94, punched out two, and then they drafted me.
So
So the first time I
so
faced hitters was at the
so
Yankee complex.
so you weren't playing on a team. You were just rehabbing using the
No,
facility, and then you threw a bullpen through to the hitters at the Yankees complex and got drafted off of that.
yeah, the first time I faced hitters after Tommy John, I was at the Yankee complex on field one, facing extended spring training guys, hit 94, punched out two. Didn't have an agent, didn't really know what was going on. Honestly, it all happened so fast. And
It was at the
I got
Himes
drafted.
facility over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. The Himes facility right there.
Dude, I've heard some crazy draft stories. That's up there. That's up there. Like off of
Yeah,
Tommy John's
yeah. It
second
was.
time throwing a bullpen, then throw some hitters. 2 months later, drafted.
Yeah, it was. I mean, even on draft day, I texted. His name's Jeff Deerdorf. I texted Jeff, and I'm like, "Yo, should I actually pay attention to this thing? Like, is this actually a reality?" He's like, "Yeah, after the 10th round, just turn it on." I'm like, "All right." So sure enough, I had it on. I was literally just playing Call of Duty with my best friend at the time, and the computer died. It wasn't even paying attention, just playing Call of Duty. Computer died, had no idea the draft was still going on. And next thing you know, my dad and his dad come like running into the room freaking out because they just called my name. And
Dude,
when
it's wild.
dude, and then the scout called me to like congratulate me. Jeff called me and he's like, "Hey, they want to know how much money it's gonna cost for you to sign." I'm like, "Bro, send me the address. Like I'm on my way. I have no
Like,
idea." And he's like, "You
yeah.
gotta,"
Like,
he's
show
like,
up.
"You
We're gonna
gotta
do
tell
this.
me." Yeah. He's like, "You gotta give me a number. Just give me a number." I'm like, "Jeff, I have no idea." He's like, "Just say something out loud." I'm like, "Nah, 250 grand." He's like, "All right, I'll call you back." Next day he calls me. He's like, "They said they'll give you 100 grand." I'm like, "Yo, I already packed my bags. Just give me the address. I'll be there today. I live in Orlando." So he sent me the address, drove down, signed the papers. The rest is history.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, for such a crazy entry into Pro Bowl, it was a pretty damn good decision by them, because you made it to the big leagues with
Yeah.
the Yankees. I mean, literally, like not that long later, 2014. I guess it was a little bit later, 5 years. You're probably still semi rehabbing as you came into Pro Ball. I would think. Like, were they being careful with
Yeah,
you at the
my
beginning?
first my first year I didn't throw that many innings. Yeah. My first year in
Right.
rookie ball, I threw like, I don't know, 12 innings or something. And then um, the following year, I did the short season thing as a starter. Uh, I didn't pitch great, but I was okay. And then like, you know how it is when you have the surgery. It's like you're building up. Like even if you're healthy, they don't want to go too fast. Like you're not going to throw 200 innings your first year back, kind of
No.
deal.
Hey, but in 2013,
Um,
he threw 154 in the minors. 154 to third.
yeah, 2013 was my year. That 2013. I
2013 is the
actually
breakout year in the minors. Yes. This is when you got on
yeah
the
I
map
I
right
was
here.
repeating high A. I was the oldest guy on the team for the second year in a row, and something happened, something clicked, and I dominated. Got called up to Double A halfway through the year. Then we won the championship there, and then the next year I was in the big leagues.
Man, that's an awesome story. That's so cool. Like literally like not on the radar, signed.
No,
They find a way for you to get starts from 2010 on in the minors, and then you take advantage of that probably on your last leg there, I would imagine, going into
yeah,
2013, being the oldest guy in Tampa.
yeah,
And then you
100%.
shove.
Going into that season, I knew like I'm on. As soon as everybody's healthy, like I'm probably the first guy out of here, kind of thing. So I better lock it in, and uh, it worked out, man. Like
Yeah.
mentally, it kind of was the best thing that ever happened to me because I was like, all right, if it's not going to work out, if I'm going to go home, I'm going to go home and be able to sleep good. So I'm going to do everything my way. And that's when I
Yes.
really learned like who I was as a player and who I was as a person. And that's when I started to take off.
Yes. And you know, it's funny because when I first got called to the big leagues, so 2010 with the Cardinals, I had been in this player development mode from 2008 all the way through 10, where they had changed my delivery, and I wasn't myself anymore, right? Like I wasn't throwing cross
Hmm.
body anymore. My slider stunk. I was just piping crappy sinkers down the middle, trying to throw a splitter, all such sorts of stuff. And like I was having some success because I had velocity, whatever. But when I got to the big leagues, I got shellacked, like totally shellacked. I had two decent starts, and then I got absolutely crushed. So I get taken off the 40-man roster, and I go back to AAA for a whole year. Don't get called up for a whole nother year. And I just remember thinking in my head, like, if I'm gonna go out, I gotta go out my way. Like I gotta go out my
Hmm.
way. And once I like decided that I was gonna take ownership over the situation, similar to what you were just saying, shit started to work out. Like all of a sudden, like I was back. Like I was like, I felt like me again, and I could live with the failure a little bit easier because it was on my terms.
Hmm. It's this weird thing where it's like you can't tell a young athlete not to be coachable because you got to be coachable, you
Right,
know.
right.
But at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, you better believe in. So if you are being coachable, but you don't believe in what you're doing, you got to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in it and it doesn't work, you're done. You're never going to be able to live with that. So once you get to that point where it's like, at least I'm believing in my process, I'm believing in what I'm doing. If it doesn't work out, like I'll be able to live with this. There's no like pointing fingers. That's when you start to take control of your own career in a way.
Yeah, and you know what's I always encourage the young guys now because everything's so spoon fed to the young guys now, like data, this is who you are, this is what you should be doing, and they don't like ever like learn for themselves. I feel like the same way through the because like they're not forced to. Like we had to go to every level back
Yeah.
then. Failure was like understood that it was part of it, and I'm not saying that there's none of that built in now with some guys, but I felt like that piece of being your own coach and being your own evaluator and doing things your way makes the biggest difference long term. Which kind of brings me to a little segue because you were part of a big trade, 2014 three-way trade. Yankees to the Tigers. You go to the Tigers. Domingo Leyba and Robbie Ray go to the Diamondbacks. I think those guys were both from the Tigers, and Didi Gregorius goes to the Yankees from the Diamondbacks. So three-way trade. You end up in Detroit. If you had a pitching coach that you loved in New York, guess what? They're gone.
You're
Now
gone.
you got to do your
Yeah.
own thing, and now you got to adjust to life as the Detroit Tigers. So, can you talk to me a little bit about that trade, how that felt, and then obviously from there you got some starts with Detroit, but then you ended up having to eventually transition to a relief role. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So trade day. So got called up, somehow pitched well enough to be there, make 15 starts as a Yankee, did the Derek Jeter thing, was there when he had his last hit in Yankee Stadium, lived in a movie, unbelievable experience. Now it's the off season. Um, I literally wake up to a call from one of my buddies, and he's like, "Yo, I'm watching MLB Network. They're saying that you're about to get traded." I'm like, "What?" So as I'm on the phone with him, my agent starts calling me. I'm like, "Yo, my agent's calling me." Switch over. I'm like, "Hello." He's like, "Hey, it's true. You're about to get traded." I'm like, "All right, well, I need to get out of bed." So I get out of bed, turn on MLB Network. Like 20 minutes later, boom, get the phone call. Just got traded, going to Detroit. And it was a crazy feeling because like obviously I was in the minor leagues like 4 or 5 years. It finally clicked, got to the big leagues, pitched well in New York. I'm like, this is, incredible. But I also knew that I only really got that chance because there were some injuries at the big league level. So I knew going into spring training with them, like it definitely wasn't my spot. I was probably fighting with 2 to 3 other guys for that fifth spot. So getting traded to Detroit immediately when they called me, they're like, "Hey, you're our fifth guy. Like it's your spot to lose." So that made me feel good. Obviously, like looking forward to spring training, a little bit less stress there. Especially going into like a new team, you're like the new kid at the high school. Like, who do I eat my lunch with? Like, what table do I sit at? So, and then I walk into that clubhouse and like the Yankees clubhouse was obviously superstars. You had Jeter, CC, when I was there. Ellsbury was there, Cano was there, Brian McCann, Teixeira, like huge names. And then I go to Detroit, same thing. Verlander, Miggy, Victor Martinez, David Price. So like I still felt like a rookie. You know what I mean? So new clubhouse, definitely a rookie. Big like I'm in between Verlander and Price in spring training.
Was
So
Max
for me, it
Max
was
was there
like,
too? Max was there too or no?
nah, sure. I just missed Scherzer. This was his first
In
year with
Washington?
the Mets
Washington?
or in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, So it was Verlander, Price, me, Alfredo Simon, and Anibal Sanchez were the five.
Anibal
So
Scherzer told me that he learned more from Anibal Sanchez than any other pitcher. How about that?
wow. I mean, smart dude.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest workers of all time. Like if you can't find him, he's in the weight room. He's
Yeah.
in he's in the weight room more than anybody I've ever played with. Um,
So it was the star-studded
so
team. I mean,
got
I
there,
remember playing Detroit those years, and it was crazy lineup. I mean, Victor Martinez,
dude.
JD, like Prince
We had
Fielder at one
Kinsler, Justin
point.
Upton, JD Martinez,
Yeah, it
Nick
was wild.
Castellanos.
Yeah, Casty. Yeah,
Uh, we had K-Rod was there,
obviously Miggy's in
Mark
the
Lowe was
prime.
there. Yeah, dude, it was a squad. So went there, started, and I remember it was in 15. I gotta get my timeline right here. In 15 started, dominated. My first three starts of the season, I went like eight shutty, seven and a third, one earned run, something like that.
Yeah,
And I was like kind of blacked out still, like young guy just trying to, make a name for myself. And then I started off hot and I was literally getting questions from the media like about the Cy Young, and that started to like mess with my head a little bit,
yeah,
and
yeah, totally.
now I'm like trying to live up to these crazy stats, and then I started scuffling, uh and I started scuffling pretty hard, like pretty quickly,
Yeah.
and ended up in the bullpen as the long guy. And then I started getting that was the year I started feeling like my fingers were getting cold. They found an aneurysm in my shoulder. So I ended up having surgery on the aneurysm in my shoulder. They found blood clots in my hand.
So that's like a
So
TOS type of scenario
yeah, so
ish.
yeah, so going into it, that's what they thought it was TOS. But then when they did all the tests, they basically had to like put this stuff in my bloodstream to try to find blood clots. And on the screen you can see like the blood going everywhere, and you could see every part of my hand except these two, like except the most important fingers. They were completely filled with blood
Were
clots.
they cold?
So that's how yeah, they were freezing.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but like the more I started to sweat, the more cold that they would get. So they fixed the aneurysm. I did all that rehab. The hardest part of that rehab was getting my range of motion back because they went like through my armpit. They gave me the option to fix the blood clots. I didn't want to have surgery on my throwing hand. They said as long as you can deal with cold fingers, sometimes your body should take care of the blood clots on its own. So coming back, I just had cold fingers every once in a while. I always had a hot hands in my pocket, whatever. But once I had my range of motion back, like I was good. So then I'm back in spring training. Now I'm fighting for the fifth spot, make the team, fifth starter, start the season off hot again. It's like my fourth or fifth start, and my I get a bad callus on my finger, and my callus ripped off because the blood clots. There was no like healing under the skin, and my finger literally like they came and checked on me because on the TV the blood looked like I grabbed it with pine tar, and I mean the ball looked like I grabbed it with pine tar, but it was all blood. So somebody saw it in the cages, like on the TV, so they came out to check on me. They took me out of the game. I ended up going to DL for 60 days for the blister, but I could send you the picture and you'd be like, dude, that's not just a blister. It was insane. But when they put me on the DL, they called up Michael Fulmer, and that
Mm.
was the year Fulmer won the Rookie of the Year. So when
Hmm.
I came off the DL, they called me in the office and they're like,
Safe
we don't
way.
really know what to tell you here, but we don't want to send you to AAA if you don't want to go. Like, you want to try the bullpen? And I was like, if the bullpen is the only way I can stay here, let's go.
Yeah.
So they sent me to the bullpen, and then at the like your first time in the bullpen, you don't really have a role. You know, I was kind of the long guy, whatever. And then by the end of the year, I kind of started to earn like a more important, like high leverage type of situation.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Two things off of that. I mean, number one, the Yankee thing is it's interesting that to hear about it because you did get a bunch of starts that first year, but it's so rare for them to ever give a rookie 30 starts. Like Will Warren had 33 starts last year, and I looked up in spring training this year. I was curious when the last time rookie pitcher for the Yankees like got a full season of starts, and it was Ivan
Hmm.
Nova. It was Ivan Nova. That's how long ago it
Wow.
was. Yeah.
Hey,
So
he was nasty too when he came up.
hell yeah, nasty curve, sinker, changeup.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about him, but it's super rare. So I understand like getting traded. It probably felt like a good opportunity. Like, hey, there's a little less competition over here. Like that was similar for me. I got waived by the Cardinals where they were stacked. I was kind of like that sixth starter. Then I go over to the Rockies,
Hmm.
and there's definitely more opportunity there. But also at that time, I got moved to the bullpen. So for me, what I struggled with a lot starting was two things. Number one, platoon splits. So like they would put a ton of lefties in the lineup against me, and now that was a lot harder because I dominate righties, and then lefties was trickier. Number
Hmm.
two, back in the day, they expected you to go 6 or 7 innings, so pitch efficiency was huge. I was more of a strikeout pitcher when I was younger, so it was like, okay, how am I going to get through 6, 7 innings and 100 pitches? And then I guess the third thing, I guess there is a third thing. The third thing was the mental load between games. So if I pitch a bad game,
Hmm.
I got 4 days to think about it. And for me, that was the biggest benefit of going to the bullpen. I go to the bullpen, I have a chance to pitch every day, but it's not guaranteed. And I can kind of let that adrenaline hit me at the right moment. And I felt like it suited me personality wise. How about you? What was your experience transitioning to the bullpen, personality wise, and kind of on the day to day?
Well, going into it, I was a little nervous because I had only ever started, but I'm 100% on board with it. Fits my personality way better being in the bullpen, like being able to show up today knowing that yesterday doesn't matter because I'm probably in there today helps me like I'm an overthinker, but it eliminated the overthinking because I don't have time for it. As a starter, I was either like really good, like the best ever for two or three starts, or I was like the worst ever for two or three starts. There was never like a gray area for me as a starter, and I think it was because of that. Like if I was really good, I was riding that high for 5 days, and then I could kind of stay on that high. And then the second it was bad, I would be like really, really down in the dumps, like questioning, am I even good enough for 5 days? And then I would carry that on. There wasn't much of like a continue with the process mindset as a starter. Now, I will say, and I have been saying, which is why I went to the DR and started, is I think I would be better at it now that I'm older and like I understand myself more, I understand the game more. I think I could handle the starting role much better, but relieving is definitely more that's my speed. Like being able to flip the switch and just ride the adrenaline, like that's definitely my personality.
Yeah, I had a similar thought in my mind. Like right after like age 35 or 36, I think yeah, when I went to the Mets, I remember thinking to myself like, hey, like I've kind of figured out this durability part, and I've gotten a lot smarter. Like I think I could navigate a lineup better now, and they're not
Hmm.
expecting you to a seven every time. Like I could be like an awesome five and dive guy. So I had the same thought in my head. But then they went and changed all the freaking rules on me, and then I know it would be a track meet. They just steal 6 bases a game, and then also it's a hard
Yeah.
sell. Like you tell people like, "Hey, I want to start," and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." And then like they just like push
Hmm.
you back into the role that they know you can already do. Like when I went to DR, originally I was like, hey, I want to start games or I want to pitch multi-inning. I want to work on my game, like more, more pitches at a clip. And then by the time I got down there, I realized, hey, like they're trying to win and they're going to use me
Yeah.
how they think we can win.
Yeah.
And I always
Exactly.
I always joke about it. Like I don't think many people grow up dreaming of being relief pitchers, maybe closer. But like for the most part, everybody wants to be a starter. So there is a little bit of an ego death when you go to the bullpen. But then, me and you
Mhm.
both, we found really good success out there, and you were able to move up into in the pecking role all the way to closer. So can you talk about that journey where you moved into the closing role?
Yeah, I think it was kind of again like right place, right time in Detroit. Truthfully, I had a year I had a year where I was really good. Like my first year and a half in the bullpen, I was really good. And then my next year, which ended up being my first full year as a closer, I scuffled a little bit. If it was a save situation, I did really well. But if it was in a situation where it wasn't a save, um, I wasn't necessarily my best. So that I think that year is what led to my success the following, because I learned so much about like how to approach each game, not allowing the score to tell me what the atmosphere is, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the transition itself, I'll never forget. Like my first day ever in the bullpen, I was playing with Justin Wilson,
Yep.
and I'm like, "Yo, Willie, what do I do?" And he's like, "I don't care what you do, but you do it every day. Like whatever it is you do, you just do that every day." And I'm like, "All right, sounds good." So trial and error, I figured out what that everyday thing was. But that's the same advice I give guys when they ask me about the transition. I'm like, it doesn't really matter to me what it is you do, but just make sure you do it every single day. And then the into the closer part, like when I was in Detroit and I started off as like the long guy, and then I kind of moved into like the fireman role a little bit, where um if the starter was coming out of the game and it was a 1 or 2 run game and there was guys on, I was coming in, and that's just the way it was. And I think that prepped me for the ninth inning, because
That's
when I
pressure.
got the closer role, yeah, when I got the closer role, um Osmus called me into the office and said, "Hey, at the time I was still the fireman thing." He's like, "Hey, you got the eighth inning from here on out. You're our eighth inning guy." I'm like, "All right, cool." One game later, literally the next day, I don't remember, they traded K-Rod or they might have released K-Rod. They traded K-Rod or released him, and so Justin Wilson was closing, and then they traded him to the Cubs. So literally for one day I was the eighth inning guy. The next day, Osmus came and got to me and came up to me. He's like, I didn't even pitch. He's like, "Hey, we liked you in the eighth inning so much, you got the ninth." I'm like, "Awesome, let's go." And then I got my first save opportunity in Yankee Stadium that night, which was also like a full circle thing for me to get my first save opportunity against my former team.
Well, I will say, watching you over the years from a distance, I felt like you were at your best in that role for whatever reason. Did you feel like there was a different edge, or what did you feel was different about the ninth inning? Obviously, you were a ground ball pitcher, also a strikeout pitcher, but a ground
Mhm.
ball pitcher. And I just feel like I know for me at least, it did give me a little bit of a little bit of a supercharge. The ninth inning, you know you're the guy, so a little bit of
Yeah.
that kind of leaks into your mental in a good way.
Yeah, I think for me, I am naturally an overthinker, right? So you put me in, even now, like if you put me in a 10-run game, to me, it's like I'm trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be dominant. I'm trying to like show people that I'm really good by striking everybody out, whatever. In the ninth inning, none of that really matters anymore, because the only thing that matters is getting 3 outs before they touch the fourth base. It doesn't matter if they all hit line drives right at somebody, or if you punch out the side, or whatever. Like the entire, especially at home, the entire stadium and city is riding on those 3 outs. And if you blow it, the whole city is feeling how you feel. You know what I mean? And maybe even worse. So like I think getting into the mindset of like it doesn't matter how it happens, we just got to make sure it happens, put me more in like attack mode. And when I'm on attack mode, I'm just at my best, because my stuff's moving all over the place. So if I'm just constantly in the zone, like the odds are in my favor. And I think that's honestly what like led to most of the ninth inning success stuff, because if I was gonna give it up, which is gonna happen, I just wasn't gonna do it being scared, because it's the ninth inning. You know what I mean? Like I always talk about like fighting or boxing. You go into a ring, somebody's going to get knocked out. If you go into the ring without your nuts and you get knocked out, like that's why you got knocked out. So your best chance is if you bring your nuts. It's the same thing in the ninth inning.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's and your back's against the wall. I also like the ninth inning
Yeah,
because you kind of know what the job is. Like depending on your lead, you kind of know what to
yeah,
do. Like and you never have to give in if you have a multi-run lead, like and you're in a bad spot. I remember Greg Holland was a great closer I played with. He was always like, "Look at the on deck guy. Can you get that guy out?" You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, don't give in to
Choose your
this dude.
battles.
Yeah.
Choose your battles. K Rod used to always tell me to choose my battles. And what's crazy too is what I don't think they talk about enough, and as a aura of a reliever, I guess, is the firemen guys. Like even if they're righty or lefty specialists, that, in my opinion, that job is more difficult than closing because those guys are always facing the 3, 4, 5 hitters
Oh yeah.
with guys on
Oh yeah.
in a one-run game. Where
Yeah.
if you're closing, you might face 7, 8, 9 for a month,
Oh yeah. I
you know,
pitched
in a
most.
three-run game with nobody on.
I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I pitched mostly in that role in my career, either seventh or eighth inning matchup, coming in with guys on base. I
Yeah,
remember 2014 in particular. If we played Detroit, for example, I could guarantee you before the series started that I was going to have to come in to face Miggy with guys on base. Guaranteed.
3 times.
Maybe at least
Yeah.
twice. Like it was happening. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
so degree of
100%.
difficulty dial just turned up a little bit, but
Yeah.
you learn like that really helps you though because you come in, you learn to attack right away, first pitch, no fear, me versus you, accesses all of your best stuff. The adrenaline is palpable, and I love that feeling. Like I have nowhere to go, so we
Yeah.
might as well find
I
out.
don't think
Feeling.
that they don't give that role enough credit. There needs to be a name for that role
It's like I guess it's
because
the
every
ace
team
reliever. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but yeah,
that role doesn't get enough credit and they don't get paid enough because that to me that's you not only have to be ready to pitch every day as a closer and in that role, but like you more often than not are going to pitch more often in that role
and we're definitely
than
going to
as a
warm up more
closer
often.
because you're going to get dry humped more for sure. You're gonna pitch maybe only 1 or 2 outs today. And then also what people don't talk about is how difficult it is, and you know this because that was your role. When you come into those big innings with guys on and you punch that guy out to get out of it, like your adrenaline just spiked. And then you sit down and they think that you can just go back out and get the next couple of guys. Like that to me is the hardest thing to do pitching is come in with guys on, get out of it, and then go back out. If it's a clean inning and they want you to go back out, that's okay. But like the peak adrenaline guys on punchy, come off the mound going crazy, and then go back out, that's the hardest thing to do
one Hundred
in
percent.
all of
I
pitching.
I show a lot of people that on the stream because sometimes a guy will he'll let it out like after the sixth inning like a starter, and I'm like
Yeah,
shit. He's only at 80
take them out.
pitches. That once you take it out, you got to get him out of there, man. Like
You got to get them out of there.
no analytics can tell you about that. I mean that's true though. You
No,
drop it and now you're not the same. You go back out there with your guard down a little bit. It's not the same. Yeah.
no doubt. If you see a reliever come in into a big situation and punch the guy out or punch the two guys out and come off the mound going crazy, his job is done. You shake his hand, you send him to the clubhouse, and we bring someone else in. I don't care if he's your best option or not. You're setting that guy up for failure. Like that job is way more difficult than you think, and you only know it if you lived it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. So you got to share a bullpen with some dogs. I mean, K Rod's one, for example. You're only there for a little while, but he's
Yeah.
one of the all time greats. Watching veteran relievers, did you pick up anything watching those guys you felt like?
Yeah, so I learned a lot from Alex Wilson and Justin Wilson as well. Just like how they went about their business every day. Both of them, like they did it differently, but both of them were like ready to pitch every day. But K Rod out of the relievers probably taught me the most.
Yeah.
Even when he was gone and I started closing, he would text me like he would be watching the game and like text me things. But his biggest thing for me that taught me the most was pitch selection. I'll never forget we were in Houston. I came in, it was like the sixth or seventh inning when I came in. I punched out the side. I was on a high. I'm in the locker room like ready to go, super happy, whatever. And he came up to me and like ripped me a new one at my locker after the game for throwing the pitches that I threw because of the pitch selection. And he like walked me through every at bat. and I couldn't remember anything. Like I was kind of a blackout out there guy. Um, but he walked me through every pitch and why I threw the wrong pitch, but I got lucky, and then why I should have thrown this pitch, like all the way through every at bat. And that was the day where I'm like, okay, I can't just black out forever. Like I got to find this happy medium where I can get into that zone, but also clearly I should be paying attention to these things. This is why he's great. So that's what really started getting me to focus more on like what is the hitter telling me to throw versus what is the count telling me to throw, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
But K-Rod definitely, like I said, even once he was gone and I was closing, like he would literally text me like, "Hey, you should have thrown a whatever there. Did you not see this or did you see that?"
That's another one that I was always crazy about because I wanted to succeed or fail on my own merit. Like I was obsessed with picking the right pitches and being and driving that train,
Hmm.
because also it's like your catchers are going to change a lot. Even if you have a catcher
For
that works
sure.
great with you, like they're going to change a lot. So it kind of brings you back full circle to that being your own coach type of thing is really the only way to keep it sustainable. You're going to bounce around. I mean, shoot, even after Detroit, you went to Atlanta, other places. You were at the Cubs for a minute. Like, I know me, I played on 5 teams. Like, if you're relying on somebody else, it's not going to work. Like, you're eventually going to have to figure that stuff out. So it's important to learn all that type of thing. But I do think there's something to be said for also putting your head down and just executing one pitch at a time as well. If you have the right guy with the right fingers back there.
Yeah, it goes back to the trust thing. Like you gotta trust what you're doing. You gotta believe in what you're doing. Um, I will say that like I mean we kind of lived in like the in my opinion the craziest era of baseball, because when we first got to the big leagues, it was like there were no analytics. There were analytics, but there wasn't all at the same time. And then we lived through the transition, right? So like um you're the only person that's ever seen the result of every pitch you've ever thrown.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're the only one. So when I was in Detroit, I kind of got called into the principal's office because I freaked out over some shifting one day. And my argument was that I feel like sometimes we're using the like we have access to all the data, but where like in the ninth inning, especially, it's a different baseball game, in my opinion. So if you're shifting this guy that's in the box based off of what he does throughout the course of the year, not versus just me and how I pitch guys, I think we're setting me up for failure. We should be shifting those people based off of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I can tell, and I'm sure you could do the same. I can tell you if a right-handed hitter hits a ball hard to left field, it's a homer.
You're not giving up
You know,
weak
it
contact in the air. Only hard contact pulled in the air from a righty.
no.
Yeah.
If a righty hits a missile to left field, it's because he clipped me. Everything else is going to be like inside heater, blooper, right? Same thing with a ground ball to the left side.
Yeah.
If he hits it hard, it's going to be just in the hole. He's never going to hit it hard at the third baseman because I'm getting in there with the sinker.
Yeah.
So let's bring him in, right? Or like with two strikes, the right-handed hitter for the most part, and if they're not, they weren't that good. You're just going to try to stay on the slider and hit the fastball to right field, and so that hole between first and second becomes my worst enemy with two strikes. But once analytics started to become a thing, they would always kind of be shifted this way, you know?
Hmm.
So that hole over there would get bigger and I would get burned a lot. And
Yep.
then, like I said, I had the one moment where I blew up. But with all that being said, the day after, they came up to me like, "Hey, I think you're kind of onto something." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm the only person that's ever seen the result of every pitch I've ever thrown in my life.
Yeah.
And I think that this is where I get burned the most. So I feel like we should cover that kind of thing."
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember through that whole era that you're talking about, because like obviously the shifts used to be more extreme before they changed the rules.
Yeah.
But like myself
Yeah.
and I remember Zach Britton, we would always talk to analytics, the guys of the analysts about this too. It's like, hey, like, I throw a lot of backdoor fastballs to righties with 2 strikes. If they do the emergency swing, guess where the ball's going?
Yeah. It's a
It's
knock.
going in the 4 hole. So I need a
Yeah.
second baseman to be aware of that and to be ready to pounce in that direction if need be. Or like for him, because he threw the heavy sinker, he would get a lot of weak, like in the infield type choppers. So he'd always have Machado play on the grass no matter
Mhm.
what. You know what I mean? So again, I think they've gotten better, and obviously the rules have changed some of the drastic shifting. But I used to get annoyed. Like I used to tell Alex Cora when he was my manager, like sometimes you got to look at me and ask me if I want them to move with 2 strikes because you're taking a pitch
Hmm.
away from me. Like if I can't throw a
Yeah,
fastball
and
because yeah,
I can't pitch to the shift.
yeah.
Like I can't pitch, I can't hone in on like my worst type of pitch or my weakness because it plays into the shift. Like I got to do what I'm good at and hope that the shift is going to work out in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, no, I totally
But
agree.
I think it's definitely evolved, like when we first started implementing all the shifts, like they were like you said, they were much more drastic. I think the game is that maybe because of the rule, but they've pulled back a little bit with it. And then the other thing is like the mentality behind it all. You're always going to remember when the shift burned you, not when it blessed you.
Oh, of course, of
You
course,
know,
of course. 100%,
that
100%.
that's just the nature of it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, that's good. We had a couple of questions here in the chat that I'll throw at you real quick before I let you go today. This has been a good convo. I feel like we've given them a lot of insight. All right, here's the first question. Does Shane remember who his first MLB strikeout was? It was a Red Sox hitter at Fenway.
Yeah, Shane Victorino, the Flying Hawaiian.
The Flying Hawaiian. What'd you get him on? Do you remember?
Well, I punched him out on 3 sliders, I
Oh, the White
believe.
Castle special, 3 sliders.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Nice. Back foot to the back foot. I think I got Victorino on a back foot.
Victorino was righty, no?
He was a switchy. But
Was he?
at one point, he started only hitting righty. But he
Yeah,
was a
so that's when
switchy
I faced him.
because I faced him hitting
Yeah, so when I
left-handed and
faced him, he
right-handed.
was only hitting righty. Yeah, yeah.
No kidding.
So, uh, that at bat was kind of crazy. So I gotta just tell you, the first pitch that I threw, that was my debut, obviously. The first pitch that I threw was a slider. McCann called a slider. He whiffed it.
Mm,
Ball went to the backstop. Run scored. There was a guy on third.
mm.
So then I went 2 more sliders and got the strikeout. But the first one, B-Mac, I love you, brother, but we gotta, you knew it was coming, dog. We gotta catch that thing.
We got to catch those balls. We got to catch those balls. No, that's that's good though. All right, what else we got here? Do you remember what specifically in your arm felt different before and after Tommy John? I was thinking about this even for myself. Like,
Um,
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, when I had TJ in college, I could pitch. I didn't know like at the time I don't know if it was affecting velo because I never really threw that hard. I would sit like 86, 87 back then. So it didn't really affect my velo, but my arm would hurt bad.
Yeah,
Like maybe not so much during throw, but after and the day after,
right
the
there.
soreness I would get. Yeah, the soreness I would get would be like
Crazy.
a normal person probably would go to the ER with the amount of pain I would have the next day, you
Yeah.
know?
The only thing that changed for me was like my range of motion. Now that I think about it, like I have a hyperextended left elbow. My right elbow used
Yeah,
to be that way. We didn't let it go to that level when I came back, so it's probably the only
yeah.
thing that felt different. All right, here's another one. Detroit's field dimensions were very large in those years. Must have been a noticeable advantage for pitchers. I'm wondering about that. So you came from Yankee Stadium, short porch. You go to
Mhm.
Detroit. Did you pitch any differently, or did you always just pitch the same way? I mean, you're more of a ground ball guy from my recollection, but
Yeah,
curious about
I
that.
definitely pitched pretty much the same way, but there are more times in Detroit where you're like, you kind of let the count, well, especially as a starter, I guess more mainly, but as a starter in Detroit, you kind of are like, all right, I need to just throw a heater over the plate here and let this guy hit it somewhere. He's probably not going to take me deep, you
Yeah,
know. As a reliever, it's a little different because you don't have as much wiggle room, but there's definitely more times in that stadium compared to Yankee Stadium where you're like, just let him hit it.
yeah.
We got a pretty good chance here if he just puts the ball in play.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I remember I did that like going back in the day, like Florida State League. I played in a graveyard, high A, and
Yeah,
a lot of 2-0 counts. Like,
yeah,
here it is, bro. Try to hit a homer.
yeah. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, one last question that I kind of had. So you were with Verlander. You said
Hmm,
that was like 2015, 2016. So he got traded in
hmm.
what, 2016 or
18?
18? So he wasn't at his best at that point when you were with him, or was he? Was he pretty dominant at that point, or no?
Um, Oh man,
Because
I don't
he's
want to
such a,
say.
I can look it up. I can look it up. He's such an
Yeah,
interesting
I don't want to say
pitcher.
that he wasn't dominant, and then he was, and now I look like a shithead.
So
But my
2014, I have it here. Hold on, I have it here. 2014, he had a 4.54. So that was probably the worst year of his life, probably before that.
uh-huh.
And then he bounced back, he pitched pretty good, but I think he had some injuries. 2015.
Yeah, he had a couple injuries
He had
in 15, I think,
like a
too.
groin or a hernia or core surgery or
Yeah,
something like that. I was just curious
yep.
about him on game day. So I've talked a lot of stories about JV on game day because I played with him
Yeah,
on the Mets. Wound pretty tight on game
yeah,
day, obviously. Not a
yeah,
guy that you want to mess with, but I was always pretty impressed at how long he could keep it locked in, like from the moment he came to the field, and how different he was on game day.
yeah.
Anything on that?
What I think is crazy about that is if I were to do that, I wouldn't be able to.
No, me neither.
Like the amount of time that he stays locked in, it's like at some point you got to think about it. Like at some point you got to think like this guy's trying to talk to me or this guy's trying to look at me or whatever. But Ver on game day, they could do a whole documentary just on Ver on game day because
Yeah,
he's I don't know, man. It works. It works for him.
I
You
know.
can't argue that.
I
The
used to
guy's definitely
always
a Hall of Famer.
I thought it was fascinating because like him and Scherzer would both go into the locked in place, but Max would wait till about 2 hours
Yeah,
before the game. But JV would
yeah.
show up with the headphones on,
Show
and
up there.
I was like,
Yeah.
damn, like
I'll never
that's
forget. I'm gonna
impressive.
tell this story and maybe I shouldn't, but it was verse start day. And he always parked in the same spot in the player lot. And it was a start day. So you're gonna think this is better than maybe the fans because you know how he is on a start day. But Osmus, Brad, parked in Ver's parking spot
Ooh,
on Ver's start day because he wasn't there yet because he gets there a little later for his start day. And he came into the clubhouse just the most rattled you could have ever seen him on a start day. That was that was a bad day for the kid. I don't remember what he did. I wish I knew the date so we could look up his numbers that day. I don't remember how it ended up working out for him, but it was the whole thing because Brad was in his spot.
sometimes you got to. Sometimes
And
guys,
if you know
yeah,
Brad,
yeah.
if you know Brad, I think he might have did it on purpose because everybody knew that Ver parked there. That's Ver's spot,
Yeah.
you know.
No, it's
So I think
just
I don't know.
I think it's funny because I hung out with him a lot, like at night on the road or whatever, when we were together with the Mets, and I was talking to him about his career and stuff, and he would tell me, he's like, man, he's like, I was crazy when I was young, like I was just too locked in.
Yeah,
I would snap at people. He's like, but that's the only way I could like get where I needed to be. So
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
Whatever you
I
got
don't
to
think
do.
that's anything wrong with that. But yeah, you got to be careful where you're parking if you got a big dog on the mound that day. No doubt about it. Yeah.
Dude, it was crazy, man. It was good.
All right. This has been cool. I'd love to have you on again. We'll talk about some more stuff, but appreciate you hanging with us today for a little bit. This was awesome, man.
Yeah, brother, enjoyed it. We'll do something again.
All right, perfect. I'll let you go here, and yeah, best of luck with everything coming up. And if you guys don't know, go check out Shane Greene's YouTube channel. It's awesome. He's got a lot of good content on there for baseball fans. So that's it, man. Great to see you, buddy.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, talk soon.
Later.
Later. All right, that was Mr. Shane Greene. He was an awesome guest. Gave us some good stories right there. I am going to take a quick break to go to the bathroom, and then we'll go ahead and progress with the show here in a minute. So thanks so much. Appreciate you guys. All right, hold on one moment while I throw on the loading screen. I'm gonna pee real quick, and I'll be right back. right. All right, we're back. That was awesome. My wife wants to know, Brett wants to know if I should have kept Shane on longer to do the show along with me on the bottom, because we can have him do that another time.
I thought it was so good.
She was having a good time.
This was one of my favorite shows.
But anyway, people were curious about that. So we're going to have Nasim Nunez on tomorrow.
When's Brett Ottavino coming on?
That'll be on the back end of the show. But
Are you ignoring me?
What'd you say?
I said, when's Brett Ottavino?
You can come on anytime you want, but I know you're a little scared of the camera.
I don't like your angles.
No, you don't like my angles, the basic forward shooting angle. You're a silly goose, you know that? You're very much a silly goose.
Do you want to go to lunch today?
I'll go to lunch with you at 12:30. 12:15, 12:30. 12:30.
You're gorgeous.
Love you.
Ask everyone if they think you're gorgeous.
No, I'm not.
Do you guys think he's gorgeous?
Just stop. Leave me alone.
So hunky.
All right. So we already went over the standings. Let's hit the coffee cups. We got some baseball to watch.
They like your blue hat. Show them. Sneak peek of the merch.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about my Navy hat?
Fall colorway.
Limited edition. All Navy hat. For the fall. I also made this. I don't think this one came out very great. With the royal blue. Tell me your thoughts. Little samples out there. Figuring it out.
Maybe someone will get it in their package.
Maybe somebody could get it as a freebie in their package. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
And I told him we're going to do a black and white.
Victoria says I'm handsome. So.
See? I love her.
All right. Here's the coffee cup winners from last night. Luis Garcia of the Nats, 3 for 5, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3-run score. He runs away with the 3 coffee cup award. Ryan O'Hearn, 3 for 5, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. Esmerlin Valdez of the Pirates, 3 for 4. Got any 4-hit nights last night? No. On the WPA, Isak Paredes with the big hit for Houston. He's the WPA award winner, as well as Kyle Schwarber, who homered off of Kodai Senga yesterday. On the pitching side, Sonny Gray, we're going to watch him. He'll probably be the first guy. This hat's navy blue, Dad. He thinks this is black.
No, tell him it's navy black.
This is navy blue.
Is coming as a limited edition.
Anyway.
That's crazy. You can't hear the people. You can't hear the chat.
No, I can't hear the chat.
You literally talk the whole time with silence around you.
Yeah, I do.
It's wild.
It's okay. So we're probably going to watch Sonny today, no doubt. He's on the thing. Robbie Ray was a request. We'll watch him as well. Couple hitters. Anyway, yeah, so Sonny won the Coffee Cups. Chris Sale, Jack Flaherty, WPA award winners, Robbie Ray, Sonny Gray, Kumar Rocker had a good one. Brandon Woodruff, who I've been meaning to watch, but they lost, so I'll skip that today. Drew Rasmussen, nothing changes with him. He shoves every time. So that's the stuff with that. Top 100 prospect check-in. Charlie Condon, I put him on. I was thinking about watching some of his AAA homers if we have any interest in that. This guy's an interesting guy. Caleb Bonemer, didn't put him on the thumb, but he's the 15th rated prospect in the game. And I was looking through him yesterday because I didn't realize that this was a White Sox. They have him at number 13 here on the update on MLB.com. But this is another dude that's coming to help the White Sox. His stats have been quite good. He just got to AA recently. So far on the year, he's rocking a 917 OPS between high A and AA, but an 811 already in AA, 293 average. So this could be another interesting one for the White Sox, as they have a whole young position player core coming, already there, and this guy's going to join the group. So I don't know. Anyway, I just thought this guy was an interesting guy to note that he exists. Not somebody that I had thought about much
So cute.
recently, but anyway, he caught my eye. And then on the pitching side down there, Cam Caminiti, Tyler Bremner. Nobody really was great. Maybe Brody Hopkins. I can't help it. I like to touch my neck.
Oh my God, you caught my eye. Hunky man. Love you.
Love you.
Stop pulling on your
Love
face.
you, Chicken Little.
Stop pulling on your face.
Bonemer's nice. Robbie Ray had to go down, and yes, he's on the list. All right, so before we start watching baseball, I have one thing I want to start off with today, and it's the Eric Chavez media tour. I posted this in the Discord, so let's listen to Eric Chavez talk about some of his issues with the Mets.
Players coming up from AAA telling me that the hitting coach was telling players that the only way they can get to the big leagues is to pull the ball in the air and try to hit homers.
We'll let this one play.
And so, okay. And the reason why this hit hard for me is because the hitting part is a reflection on me, right? So I can't control, what somebody else's thoughts, what they're telling our players, and they come up, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want the broken bat hit to the opposite way for the game-winning hit. I don't need 3-run homers and guys trying to hit homers where, offensively.
I'll wait till he's done
at the game offensively,
to start commenting on this at all. But
reasons for that. Sure. Philosophies are
I like Chavez, by the way.
And so I went and I sent an email to the whole.
Obviously, he's a little.
Staff. I didn't address.
He's a little angry right now.
Specifically, and I just.
But I like Chavez.
I'm hearing from players that this is what we're teaching. And I said I adamantly disagree with this. I think we're doing a disjustice to the organization and the players. And obviously, David reads all the emails, so he calls me in, and he tells me that, what did you mean by that? And I went and I told him, I said, I don't agree in that philosophy. I want guys to just be good hitters, and
the power will come.
And you talk to any great player, none of them talk about hitting home runs. None of them talking about pulling the ball, right? It's stay up the middle, get a good pitch to hit, have a consistent path to the ball. And I said, I disagree with this. He goes, well, I don't. And I go, okay, that's fine. You can have your opinion, but I'm telling you, every great hitter, Hall of Fame, you go ask them, had any of them had that philosophy? This is, again, we're recreating that we're getting too smart, right? Of course, most of the balls that are home runs that are hit hard on the pull side. Of course. But that's not the message you're preaching.
All right. So that is Chavez's comments on something that frustrated him when he was a hitting coach with the Mets. Guys coming up, telling them, the incentives that are being basically, that they're being challenged with down there in the minor leagues. And I think this is just an interesting conversation in general about the state of the game and hitting, right? I think hitting Twitter, hitting on the internet is very polarizing right now. The data, the people that look at the data are trying to reverse engineer results out of their hitters, right? So it's like pull in the air percentage. And I think one thing that's interesting that Chavez said here is that, of course, he's not denying that. And I don't think anybody's denying that. Obviously, a pulled, hard hit ball in the air produces the best overall results, certainly the most home runs. It's something that we track on Baseball Savant with any player. Fernando Tatis, at the beginning of the year, no pulled fly balls, no slug, no home runs. Vlad is in a similar spot. So I think this is a lot about feel versus real is what it really comes down to right now. What do you think about? What is your approach when you walk up to the plate that's going to give you the best chance to produce the best results? And I think that right now, the reality is that the pitchers are better than ever. And I think that they present harder challenges than ever. I also think pitchers are aware that pulled fly balls are the best type of batted balls for the batter. So we always try to stay away from that. Like if I'm facing a lefty and I'm at Yankee Stadium, I don't want him to hit a fly ball to right field. That's not good for me. So I'm going to actively pitch away from that. So I think that we're getting into this push and pull scenario where, some old school guys like Chavez are like, no, I want you to have a good approach, spray the ball all over the field, and home runs happen by accident. Or the approach being preached by a lot of organizations now, which is groove that pull side swing in the air, pull in the air swing, groove that as much as you can, and just rinse and repeat. An Isaac Paredes type approach, if you will. And I think that they're both trying to get at the same thing, the best possible production, and going about it two different ways. And I think it might work differently for different players. And I think that's where some of the frustration comes in, where guys maybe are being taught something that they don't feel comfortable with, or they want to do something and it's not what's being preached, or maybe they get great results. So I think it's just tricky. And I think pitching went through this for a while. Trying to make everybody, like a four-seam guy or, whatever the case may be. But now we've kind of settled into training pitchers more individualistic for their best qualities. And I think that's probably where we'll land with hitting eventually, is like they'll kind of train them more individually for what they can and can't do. This is also a great comment here by Jody, that situational hitting is also important. It is. And I think that's what we were taught growing up in the old school way, is you play to the scoreboard. If you don't need an extra base hit, if you need a base runner, that's a different approach than if you do need an extra base hit. But again, I'm not a hitter, but I see that this is a very hotly contested topic. So I thought that was some interesting quotes there. Certainly with the amount of Mets fans we have that watch the show, I wanted to at least just killed a bug. I want to at least throw that out there because that caught my eye right out the gate this morning. What's Mitch saying here? Teams want to expedite results to get production at a lower price point. Chavez is trying to do best for them long term. The priorities aren't aligning. This is also something that's an aspect of this argument that I didn't consider. Expedite results to get production at a lower price point. So yeah, so they want you to call up, hit home runs while you're a young player. I don't know, man. I mean, this is just, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky. The Red Sox have gone through this a lot. You know, Bregman fought for Pete Fatsy to stay there. He ended up getting the boot later with the whole red wedding situation in Boston. I do think the Red Sox, minor league developed team is all about pull fly balls in the air and trying to groove that swing and coming up through the ball and all different types of things. But I think it's tricky. I think when you're facing a pitcher who's not actively not cooperating out there, maybe having some adjustability in your swing makes sense. And at least the best hitters that I always faced, they had a combination of strike zone judgment, raw ability to hit the ball hard, but also an ability to have multiple swings in their bag. So that's kind of the side I'm on, just because I know what's tough to pitch to. You had a prospect on the other day on your stream, can't recall his name, but his hitting mentality gave me faith for the future. Take the ball where the path dictates. Yeah, Colt Emerson talked about it. Rock Chalowski talked about it. And those guys are going to be picked at the very top of the draft. And usually those types of premium players, they don't really mess with those guys too much until they have to be messed with. I think it's more so looking for other guys to, shoot up with pull fly ball percentage. I think a lot of this gets lost in translation. Older hitters heard pull fly balls are header and think teams are trying to say, try to pull the ball in the air, which is not what they're saying. I think that is what a lot of them are saying, Philip. I do. Because I've been in a lot of the cages where a lot of they set things up like they'll put parameters of the launch angle that they want, and they will tell you to go ahead and catch the ball out front and to train that. So I think they are saying that to some extent. Not everybody, but I do think that that's being mandated a little bit at times because slugging is, kind of how you score runs, walks and slugging for the most part. Obviously, situational hitting comes into play in different ways. Feel versus real and see the ball, hit the ball. Anyway, wanted to throw that out there. And now we can get into watching some baseball today. So let's do that. All right. I think we're going to start with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Yankees got absolutely bum rushed by the last place Red Sox over the last 4 games. And if you didn't know about the standings of the teams when you watched this series, you would say the Red Sox are the better team. Their pitching was fantastic over this series. Connolly Early, drafted and developed by the Red Sox. Peyton Tolley, drafted and developed by the Red Sox. Jake Bennett, drafted and developed by the Red Sox, were the first 3, all young guys making league minimum, shoved it up the Yankees, you-know-what. And then Sonny Gray, who they came over in the trade, followed suit last night with honestly maybe the most impressive of the group pitching performances last night. This guy was a Picasso last night. 7 1/3, 1 hit, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. He now has a 2.69 ERA on the season. This has been Sonny's season to date. He's a spin master. He has aged pretty well. This is so far a much better year than what he had the last 2, but he was still pretty good in the last 2. 200 strikeouts. He has a 200 strikeout Greene. He was drafted by the Nationals and then traded. You're right. Bennett was drafted by the Nationals, traded last winter. Anyway, my young left-handed pitcher. They have a ton of those guys. Good way to catch me on that, Shilly. Luis Perales. That's right. That was the trade. Anyway, they have the 3 young lefties and then the old man, Sonny Gray, who was dealing last night. So he's having a good year. You see Baseball Savant doesn't love it, but I do feel like this guy has an ability to pitch to situations. You talk about situational pitching. Sonny's really good at that. When he gets in trouble, he knows how to dance around it. He knows how to find that third out before the run scores. Because it's not like he's working with the best stuff in the world. It's mostly spin and about 92 miles an hour. And even his sinker, which you're going to see in this game, that he uses as a runner, it's not like it's a crazy good metric. He's just really precise with it, and he times it at the right times. Turns out last season's ERA number was a fluke. Yeah, well, I mean, Baseball Savant knew too. that he was better than that number. But I feel like there's still a long season to go, and he has to still post another, 83 or 90 innings or whatever it's going to be. But he's off to a great start. 9-1, 2.69. Pretty crazy to be 9-1 for a last place team. So anyway, here was his start last night. Let's go to the player breakdown as he shoved hardcore versus his former team. 26 sweepers, 23 sinkers, 19 cutters, 15 four-seamers, 10 curves, and 4 changeups. He faced a ton of lefties, which you would think would be his Achilles heel. But one thing he does a great job of, he has more of a chase and a whiff type sweeper than most people. Has a little bit of drop to it. And he tends to go with the shorter breaking balls before unleashing the sweeper with 2 strikes. So we'll see if that manifests itself in this game. The other thing he did incredibly well, and the Red Sox did this the whole series, they had multiple players over 75% first pitch strike in this series. Sonny Gray, 83% first pitch strike. That is pretty damn good. So, all right, let's watch it. Sonny Gray versus the Yankees. Sunday Night Baseball. I did not cover it last night, but I did watch it. And it got a little spicy at the end. We'll watch that too. All right, Jazz Chisholm, who did not make it through this whole game. He led off this game versus Sonny Gray. A little fastball up and away. Jazz already mad about the zone. Now we got umpire cam for the second pitch. Little take up and away on a changeup. And we're going to come back with a cutter. 2-1. So first 4 pitches of the game, all different. Four seam, changeup, cutter, sinker, and now sweeper. First 5 pitches of the game, all different pitch types. So that's where we're at in baseball right now. You want to be a veteran and pitch with 92, throw a lot of different pitches. So this is what Sonny tries to do with 2 strikes a lot. He throws this down and in sweeper. He's got negative vertical break on his sweeper, and that makes it a little bit unique.
3-2.
I think one thing about Savant that would help is if they would add spray angle into their expected stats. I think that would be the level up for Baseball Savant. There's a cutter for strike 3, and that's the first out of the game. It's a punch out of Jazz. He pretty much threw him the whole arsenal here. This one gets to the belt line in. Jazz takes a huge hack, ends up coming up empty. Now he's going to get a first pitch out to Ben Rice. Little fly out to the wall. Eaton's out there. I believe that was Eaton. And now here is Jason Dominguez. 4-seam in. His 4-seam has cut to it. You see that? -2. Horizontal break on his fastball. There's the cutter. What's the difference between the cutter and the fastball? The cutter's really a slider. That's what it is. He throws a gyro slider as a cutter, and then he goes to the sweeper off that tunnel. So you're going to see a lot of cutter to sweeper from Sonny. Backdoor sweeper here. Little lazy line out to second base, and that's the first inning. On to the second inning.
30 extra base hits. And maybe more. Deep to right field. This is threatening the
Popped out. First pitch fastball. Bellinger underneath that out to Willier.
It's a fair pull.
And now here's Spencer Jones. 4-seam down the middle. Again, it's got cut on it, so even though it's a little slower, at least it's a weird shape of pitch. That's always going to help. Weird is good. We talk about that all the time. Change up down here, 2-1. Everybody like the stream? If you don't mind, just click that thumbs up button. If you're on TikTok and you want to come over to the stream and get in the chat, come on over to YouTube. All right, here is a swinging strike going for that first. Wow. Going for the front door sinker here. Misses down, and Spencer Jones swings over it. Very weird swing and miss here, to be honest with you. But this has also become a big part of Sonny's game, is the freeze, the glove side sinker. So we'll see if more of that shows up. I've seen Tom Tango is kind of in charge of things at Savant. Talk about spray angle, says it doesn't make that much of a difference to the X stats and aggregate. I don't think it would be huge difference, but I think there would be something interesting about it with certain pitchers. We just talked about it with Shane Greene. And I can speak to this as well a little bit as a pitcher. There are definitely commonalities to your own spray chart as a pitcher that appear over larger samples in terms of where the balls are hit. And that would show up in terms of spray angle because there'd be a lot of consistency with that, and that would change some of the expected stats. Maybe not a huge, significant amount, but I'd like to get things right, and I'd like to add a little more context. And I think spray angle would help. But I definitely see what you're saying, and I see why they don't do it. But I think it would be interesting to do it. I think for certain guys it would help. The announcers talked a lot when it came to first pitch. A lot were middle, but you have no clue what pitch or of the 5-6 is coming. True. First pitch strikes is everything, man. I mean, especially for a bulk pitcher, like a starter or a long reliever. Obviously, out of the pen, there's some times in leverage spots where you have to be smart on the first pitch. But for the most part, you better be 0-1, 0-2. The numbers don't lie. And, you know, for pretty much any pitcher, you're going to pitch a hell of a lot better when you can afford to throw a ball because you're ahead in the count. Oh, wow. Was this Rizzo's spot in the dugout here? Wow, he was in the dugout. In the dugout. Holy shnikes. That could have been me. But it wasn't me. Anyway, that's wild. All right, there's a sweeper that he left to the middle to Oswaldo. Curveball backdoor. Wow, that was awfully close. No challenge, but pretty close. And then he's going to punch him out with that sweeper. Now, again, what makes Sonny's sweeper unique is that it has negative break on it. -7 IVB. That's part of the reason why. He also has a pretty high arm angle. And that's why I think Sonny's... I don't even know if this is a sweeper, in my opinion. It's more of a slurve. But the bottom line is this pitch gets whiff, righties and lefties, whereas most sweepers don't, that are a little more flat, and that's something that makes his breaking balls unique. I would also compare his breaking ball package to Max Meyer. You know, his cutter is basically Max Meyer's gyro slider, and then his sweeper is basically similar to Max Meyer as well. Now, Max throwing a lot harder, but the juxtaposition of those two pitches off of each other is super effective. There's a really nice changeup. And then every time with 2 strikes, he tends to take a shot with this sweeper. Seems pretty consistent that he wants to do that. That's going to be a little fly out. Great catch by Wilyer right there. He's been the top defender in the game this year. I don't know if you guys know that, but this is super smooth sliding catch by the Venezuelan legend, Wilyer Abreu. Also pray for Venezuela for sure. Great play there. That's the second out of the third. And here is a 4-seamer first pitch out. You see that little bit of cut got him off the end of the bat, and he rolls it over to Durbin. Sonny looks like he's throwing everything first time through. Do you think there's anything to not throwing everything first time through? All right, so this is an all-time argument that you get into with old-timers versus the new school way of thinking. So look, there's no doubt it would be nice. It would be nice if you could just throw fastballs or 1 or 2 pitches the first time through the order. The reality is most guys are not good enough to do that. Their main primary pitch is not good enough to get, you know, 9 outs without changing up what they're doing. That or their command's not good enough. And I also think that putting more stuff in the batter's mind can be a positive as well. Now, so you can do this both ways. For me, as a starter in the minor leagues, yeah, I had some games I was able to throw sinkers the whole beginning of the game and get outs like this. You just throw a sinker at the bottom of the zone. Ben Rice, who's out of whack right now, flies it out. Perfect. You hold back your breaking ball for later. But I would say, for the most part, if you try to pitch that strategy, you're going to get clipped. You're going to get clipped. You're going to get clobbered. You can't be predictable at all. So for me, I don't mind mixing it. And then you just figure it out as you go. You just remember your sequences, remember what worked, what didn't work, and you adjust from there. But this idea of you should hold everything back every start that first time through, I think that's just false. Ooh, and this is just a mean leg hang front door sinker to Dominguez. So let's review this whole at bat because this is pretty nasty right here. So it's 2 outs, nobody on. He starts with a 4-seam away. See that little cut on it? That's -2.2. Check out the shape of this pitch on the way to the plate. Look at that curl right into the zone. For a perfect backdoor cutter, I'm going to call that first pitch strike. And then he comes with a cutter, which I'm going to call a slider on 0-1. Gets it to the up end. So that did play like a cutter. But again, there's a difference between that pitch and his 4-seam. So now he's got 2 pitches that subtly moved into him to start off this at-bat. And then he's going to go to a pitch that's going to subtly move away from him. Not only that, he goes to the super high leg hang. Now, this wasn't a strike. He should have challenged it. But you see what Sonny was doing there. He went for an opposite movement after the 2 pitches going into Dominguez. He threw 2 going this way. Now he's going to throw 1, and the idea is to start it here and kind of run it back to the zone. That's what this pitch does. On top of that, he added a leg hang in there for timing disruption. And so he added a lot of qualities together to have a pretty nasty pitch there for the freeze of Dominguez. And that's just veterano shit right there. That's veteran stuff. All right, 5th inning.
So, you know, things will probably be okay for the Yankees. That was merit. Grisham coming back is such a big piece.
The Red Sox like the 2-strike sweeper. They also have a lot of sweepers with depth. For example, Crochet, which is your example here, AO. And I agree with you. Anyway, there's a fly out on a changeup of Bellinger here. So Sonny really rolling here in the early going, not being challenged with much. And everything he's doing from a batted ball perspective is working out as well. All right, here is Spencer Jones. First pitch curveball ball. Here's that cutter fastball. Swing and miss. So Spencer's missed 2 pitches down and in. I would think he would hit in that location. Now sweeper off that spot. Oh, beautiful tunneling. Beautiful tunneling here. Watch the fastball with a little bit of cut on it. And don't think the fastball with a little bit of cut on it doesn't help the slider and the curveball tunnel the sweeper tunnel as well. So look at this. This pitch is trending right in there for the down in corner. He gets swing action on it. Now he goes to the cutter, and check out where that's trending. Same spot, right? Coming right for that down in corner. So he's going to swing again, and then it's just gone. That is a perfect tunnel by Sonny Gray to get to 2 strikes. That's exactly what a tunnel is, and that's perfect execution. I bet he sticks with it. He does, and he's going to probably throw the same pitch again. Actually, a worse version, but the same effect, and Spencer's out in front of that. So, you know, just veteran know-how, good execution below the zone, getting batters to swing at balls. That's a big part of Sonny's game. And if he would have laid off that, he would have came back with the fastball. All right, here is Rosario. Little cutter away strike. You see the 0-1 every time means the batters, you know, they want to probably ambush, but then they don't want to get out on first pitch outs, which you saw some of that as well today. There's a sweeper. Rosario's able to hold up on that. As soon as he gets the take action, they go to the sinker in. Probably a good pitch to hit, but ends up fouling it off. And now to the curveball. Do you know what kind of changeup he's throwing? Kick change, traditional, circle, something sheen shifted? I'll take a look at the metric and I'll give you a guess. Sinker away, fouled off. Here's cutter. Right on the corner. I mean, he's living on that corner. And now fastball, and this is the only walk of the game. Although I would argue that's a pretty competitive pitch. And now we have Cabrera. Sinker down, strike. And now cutter, probably up in. No, backdoor cutter. And he gets a little chopper to Durbin. So a really easy first 5 innings for Sonny. And we're on to the 6th. And I mentioned he's throwing a ton of first pitch strikes, so guys are going to want to swing. That's what Wellesley does here, but he's underneath that cutter. Pops it up to center. Can't accord for Rafaela. And now we're up to Caballero again. Cutter strike right down the middle. But, you know, you just made a 1-pitch out. Nobody wants to make two 1-pitch outs in a row. Sinker up and in, scares the bejesus out of him. 1-1, and now to the sweeper, probably off that lane. Didn't get it off that lane, so didn't get the chase. Now to the cutter. A little bit off, and now this is his first challenge scenario, so he's going to go 3-1 challenge. Caballero comes out and around that cutting fastball again. That's the same type of batted ball he did the first time. A little roll over to third. Back to the top of the order, and Jazz Chisholm. Backdoor cutter paint. Jazz clearly doesn't like that, but that was in there. Sinker coming now in. That disappears below the bat. 0-2. Sweeper off that lane to the back foot. That's a pretty good take. Didn't start it high enough. Now to the sinker. Called ball. He challenges it. That is high. And then he's going to punch him out on a curveball. So we haven't seen many curveballs. Sonny also has the ability to do that, which is like a more depthy version of his sweeper. Jazz hates it, and I think he gets ejected right here. I want to watch his check swing. What do we got on this? I don't think he swung personally. But I will say it looks kind of crazy and it's tough. I don't think he swung. But anyway, he got pretty aggressive with the umpire and he got chucked out of the game right there. What'd he say? He said, the fuck? So anyway, that was pretty nasty. And then 7th inning, he's going to go ahead and keep on rolling. Ben Rice, who's, I mentioned, been in a little bit of a funk at the plate. He would love to get himself going again. And I think that's, you realize with Judge out in the Yankee lineup, everybody else that needs to pull their weight needs to pull their weight. You know, Bellinger, Rice, those two in particular. Because without Judge, it does show up as a glaring hole some nights. All right, 3-2, cutter up and away. That's a good location and a nice play there at second. Siegler's been playing. He had a great series for the Red Sox, by the way. Former Yankee draft pick. Been playing second base during the series for the Yankees. I mean, for the Red Sox. He had a tremendous series, Anthony Siegler. All right, curveball down, gets the swing and the miss. And you can always, this is also how you can see how previous at-bat behavior dictates the next at-bat sometimes. He got a 3-pitch strikeout looking. Dominguez comes out trying to be aggressive, ends up chasing a first-pitch curveball.
1-2 coming.
Curveball down, chopped foul. Here's another sinker attempt for the freeze. This is probably Sonny's hardest pitch of the game, 93-7. Misses there. Oh, that's what he was mad about, that the umpire didn't check it. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with Jazz there. You have a guy down there for a reason. Check swings. You shouldn't be making those calls from home plate, in my opinion. Ooh, gets him with the sinker here. We got a challenge. This is absolute paint. Yep. Oh my God, he says to himself, look at that. Just shaves the corner for strike 3 there, and that is the second out of the 7th. Back to Bellinger. They just couldn't get anything going against him, or really any of their guys, any of their starters this whole series, but they couldn't get anything going in this game. Perfect curveball off the backdoor cutter. This is just beautiful. Inside, outside, upside, downside. Lots of making the guys chase, and then when they don't chase, going for the freeze. I mean, look at this sequence and how he goes from one pitch type to the next. Cutter, strike. Curveball, strike. Sweeper. No? Okay, I got to start a little higher. I'll go curveball again. So Sonny's just reading and reacting and executing. That was brilliant, and that earned him a trip to the 8th inning. Spencer Jones, cutter up and in, strike. Sonny doing his best Fernando Rodney hat. Yeah, he's got that hat really cocked to the side there. Kind of like it. Kind of like it. He was Bob Ross in the 7th, too. Absolute pain. There's a 3rd strikeout of Spencer Jones. This is kind of a welcome to the big leagues game a little bit. This is a pitcher that on paper you would think he would hit, but Sonny just out-executed him. And then here's his last batter of the game, Ahmed Rosario. Sinker in, and then he's going to give up a hit here, or maybe an error or something. And that ended the no-hitter, right? So Rosario gets on. They pull him out of there. Great outing all around. Red Sox, 4 games in a row, absolutely shoved. Yeah, that was the end of the no-hitter. But 97 pitches, 9 strikeouts. Guerrero came on from there. But, man, Sonny's been awesome this year. He's aging really, really well. I'm curious to go look at Sonny's career a little bit. Sneaky, dominant career. Got his 2,000th strikeout in this last game. Look at that now. 2,000 innings and 2,000 strikeouts. So he eclipsed both of those marks in yesterday's game. For his career, 35.2 WAR, 3.54 earned run average, 134 career wins. But man, 2,000 strikeouts is a nice one. That's a very nice milestone to hit. I don't know if 3,000's in the cards for him. Probably not. But 2,000's a nice milestone as well. And yeah, we'll see how long he can keep going, what his longevity will look like. He'll be a free agent after this season. And he is in his age 36 season right now. I mean, he's been pretty dang consistent just in terms of just ERAs over the years. Not any year where he hasn't been serviceable since 2016. I guess 2018 with the Yankees, 4.9. But since then, 287, 37, 419, it's fine. 308, 379, 384, 428, but we know that the expecteds were better than that. And then this year he's putting on, so far, one of his best years just from a runs against perspective. 269 through his first 15 starts. And it seems like he's doing a good job leading that staff as well with Crochet out. So I think he's pretty good, man. I don't know how much longer he can do it, but it doesn't seem like velocity is a big part of the equation for him. So I would expect him to get another, 1 or 2 year, probably maybe he can talk him into a 2-year deal. I mean, Bassett just got one, so I could see a 2-year deal from somebody after this year, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Sonny and how he kind of plays it out the rest of the year. As for the Red Sox, I'm starting to really get a little excited about the second half of this year. I mean, I still think they're going to fall short because of their hitting a little bit, but you look at the 4 pitchers that they just threw out there in this series. We just watched Sonny Gray, and then you got Connolly early, who's 16 starts with the 3.6, 7-5, who I thought looked really good and might be progressing nicely into the second half. You've got Peyton Tolley, who's been unreal this season with a 90th percentile xERA, 12 starts, 2.78, 4-5. Question big for Peyton Tolley is how the workload will catch up, and that's probably true for Bennett as well as Early. What are they going to look like in August, September? But right now, these guys are absolutely dominant. So you have Early, Tolley. Bennett's been probably just as good as any of them so far. 6 starts, 3.27. He's more of a ground ball type, but he's got incredible command. So you got all 3 of the young bucks, 25 or younger. Then you got Sonny Gray. Eventually, you're going to get Crochet back. And they also have Ranger Suarez. They're pretty damn good. I mean, 11 consecutive quality starts comes down to their hitting. Siegler's given them a little bit of a boost. I would say that's a factor for them. You go ahead and you look at the game. Where's the game? The game from yesterday, this was the lineup the Red Sox ran out there on Sunday Night Baseball last night. Because you're trying to think, I know they have good pitching, but how are they going to be consistent on offense? There's 2 parts to this game. So Nate Eaton, Jarren Duran on the bench. He's got a 617 OPS. Cedon's been great. Abreu's been great. Contreras has been great. So you have those 3. Romy Gonzalez just got back. Can he help? Caleb Durbin's been unbelievable so far, I would say over the last month or so. Can he keep it going? Siegler, he's got a 920 OPS in small sample. Can he keep it going? These are the questions. And then shortstop's been the black hole for this team. With Story getting hurt and Marcelo hasn't been playing as good. So they've been playing Chang a little bit. And then, catching spot's been a little dead. And then there's what to do with Yoshida. So I don't know if they have enough hitting, but they do have 80 games to play with here. And you gotta like their pitching, not only from a starting standpoint, but also from a reliever standpoint. So, I don't know. I wonder what's going to happen here with Boston. You would think that Breslow would be a little desperate to let this thing ride and play out, and if they get a little bit closer, or if they look a little bit better over this next month, maybe they pull back from some of their trades. But it's going to be interesting. Durbin is alive now. Do you think they'll trade Sonny? I do think that if they're in a moment where this next month is huge. I do think that at the present moment, yes, they probably trade him, but hey, if they creep in there, maybe not, and they might feel covered even without Sonny. Even trying to win, they could maybe still trade Sonny if Crochet comes back. They get good news on some of the other guys, because you got to love the 3 young guys they have. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of intrigue with the Red Sox over the next month. Also understanding that Breslow is sort of on the hot seat, so he might be a little more incentivized to let it ride. We'll see, but if they can improve that offense, they should. The bullpen isn't bad either. It feels like the need is the offense. They need it bad. Yeah, I totally agree. That's the biggest thing with Boston. But, you just saw it. 4.5 out. That's not bad. So that's certainly something to think about a little bit. All right, second guy who's probably going to get traded. Second guy to look at today is Robbie Ray. Now, Robbie Ray, Baseball Savant, completely calls BS on everything that he's doing, but he's had 2 really good starts in a row. He's now sitting at a 3.39, 7-6 through his first 95 2/3 this year. We've mentioned ever since he won the Cy Young in 21, his velo has plummeted. He used to be one of the elite strikeout pitchers in the sport, especially as a starter. That has changed a lot over the past few years, and you're going to see even in this game we're about to watch, there's really no strikeouts in it. But look, I mean, at one point, you go back to 2017, 2018, all these years. I mean, he was 88th percentile, 95th percentile, 92nd percentile, 88th percentile Ks. That's really hard to achieve on Baseball Savant as a starter. When you're talking about strikeout rate here, you're not going to be able to do that most of the time facing the lineups over and over again. But legitimately, Robbie Ray was that guy. Now, this year, he's not, and that's why Baseball Savant's calling BS on his approach. He's never been a ground ball pitcher. He's a fly ball pitcher. So even this year, only 21st percentile ground balls. So the question is, does that make him an Oracle Park merchant? How are other teams going to value Robbie Ray? Yes, he has veteran know-how. He's a former Cy Young Award winner. He's had some positive results. Look at 4 of his last 5 starts. 5-0. Then he had a clunker. Then 6 1/3, 0, 8-0, 8-0. So we're going to watch the one from yesterday, 8-0 versus the Braves. And it's not even a bad team. I know they're in a moment right now, but it's not even a bad team. Giants, Braves. Robbie Ray goes 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 run not earned, 1 walk, and only 2 strikeouts, going head-to-head with Chris Sale. Here's the player breakdown on Robbie from last night. It was 37 sinkers, which is wild to see because he was a 4-seam pitcher most of his career. 25 changeups. I mean, he was fastball slider as can be at the beginning of his career. 22 sliders, only 6 4-seamers, and then 5 knuckle curves. So this is a totally different pitcher at the moment than a version of Robbie we've seen before. So not actively hunting strikeouts as much. Hunting weak contact. The sinker's got to be a part of that. It's got a dead zone metric on it, 12 and 14. That's nothing special. Meanwhile, his 4-seam's got 17 or 18 inches of vert. So you would think he'd be throwing that more. No, he's going with 2 pitches with almost identical movement, his sinker and his changeup, and he's riding that to success. And he didn't even throw a lot of first pitch strikes. So I'm already squinting at this a little bit saying, I don't think this might be sustainable, but let's watch the game yesterday and let's see how it happened, how he was able to throw the 8 really good innings versus the Braves. So let's check it out. Mauricio Dubon. Quick check on the home away splits. Mid 2 ERA at home, mid 4 ERA on the road. All right, well, there was that first out of the game. Dubon grounds it to short. -11 horizontal break, 14 vertical break. That is about as dead zone as it gets for a fastball, and yet he's leaning on it. Here's a sinker to Harris. Sprayed the other way. Many-time Gold Glove winner Matt Chapman grabs that. And then he's going to get a strikeout on a sinker at 94. Off the plate away for a chase of Ozzie Albies. So could not be weirder to watch Robbie Ray spamming sinkers, but that is what he does here. In the first inning, gets 3 outs on this pitch, and that was a pretty feeble swing there by Ozzie. All right, on to the second inning. He's going to get a strikeout on that slider to Olsen. See, this is a pitch to me that has always been, kind of his elite pitch. He comes from that high release. The slider tunnels well off the fastball. He locates it really well, and he punches out Olsen. Here's Drake Baldwin, who, one of my favorite players of the year. He's in the middle of a miserable slump right now since coming off the IL. And it doesn't help that Matt Chapman's making diving plays to get Drake Baldwin out here. If you were pitching well and Savant was basically calling you a fraud, how would that make you feel? Would you convince yourself it is wrong? No, because most of the time it's right. I would learn from the data. I mean, I had some years. When you pitch to the Savant, when you pitch to try to dominate the Savant metrics, it usually works out in the game as well. So, but again, it depends on what type of pitcher I am. Like 2023, I decided to become more of a ground ball pitcher because my swing and miss stuff didn't feel like it was there as much. Here's an out on a changeup. And so I knew some of the numbers were going to back up a little bit, but I was hyper-focused on my ground ball rate, my first pitch rate, and certain things. There were certain other things I was willing to let go of. But for the most part, if Savant thinks that it's unsustainable, it probably is. You know, more often than not, you're going to be needing some luck. So that's how it goes. Ray with 3 good starts in a row. No earned runs in those 3. 4 of his 5 in June were no earned run starts. He's saying he's working in a sinker more. Yeah, well, that's what we're watching. A whole bunch of sinkers, and then here's a fly out. How hard's this hit? 94, so not really hit that hard. Got it off the end. Good. It's always been a great place to pitch, and he's a fly ball pitcher. But yeah, total change of approach here. Here's a changeup. Very well located off the end of the bat. Little pick at short there by Adames. Very nice. And then a 1-pitch out here.
Here's Kim, and Kim hits the first pitch.
To Hassan Kim. Little fly out to center. So a very efficient 3rd inning. Here is the 4th inning.
The 1-0. Shot up the middle. This time it's
subscribe to the Discord, folks. Do me a favor. All right, Dubon with a ground out there on a sinker. Here is a slider to Harris. Ooh, a little weak tapper. Robbie Ray's going to pounce on that. Ooh, nice play. Fires it out, gets him. So another really quick inning here in the 4th. So if anything, you know, his all four-seam and slider approach is either dominant, probably produced a ton of foul balls and long counts. I mean, going to this sinker changeup approach, 2 pitches that aren't necessarily that nasty, has made him more efficient. You know, if you get guys to swing at changeups like that off the plate away, you're going to be pitching well. So really easy 4th inning. Here's the 5th inning. 2-0 challenge sinker to Olsen. Ground ball up the middle. So there's our first little bit of traffic. Leadoff single here in the 5th. Here is Drake Baldwin. Jeremy's asking a question. Would you say having your changeup and sinker with the same movement is a bad thing? Not always, but it can be. Not always, but yes, it can be. And part of the reason for that is because if your bat path is here, like if you're a lefty hitting versus a righty sinker, for example, and your bat path becomes scoopy to match the plane of that, it doesn't have to change for the changeup. Only thing that has to change is you stay back or you extend your swing out to catch that slower pitch with the same path. If it's a 4-seam that's playing off of a big difference to your changeup, or even if your sinker is a way different movement than your changeup, think about it like that. Now you have to create an angle to hit that first pitch, and that's a different bat angle than you're going to have to hit to catch that pitch with different action. So to me, you'd like to have different movement. However, there are some pitchers that dominate with the same movement because it creates that optical illusion, particularly if you have a lot of speed separation between the two. So it's like they speed you up with 1 pitch, and the second pitch looks the same. There's the benefit of it, looks the same, so you fire at it, but you're way early. So it could work, but it depends, is my answer. But generally speaking, most guys are better with more movement, separation between the 2 pitch types, fastball and changeup. Here's a changeup to Austin Riley, got him out front. So that's what it looks like when you get a guy out front,
which is really bugging me.
And you pop it up. Yeah. So I mean, you think of the great changeup guys that had no difference on their movement, like a Marco Estrada is always a guy that I reference, or Giolito. The trick there is selling it and then getting guys out front on their front foot. Here's another changeup fly out. So you see, I mean, you're playing with a little bit of danger, but hey, if these balls aren't hit hard, they're of no worry. 95.7 in the air is not usually going to do much at 35, so easy play there. We are on to the 6th inning.
Starting Atlanta, he's carried it into this start. And he's going to shoot one into right field on a 3-2 pitch.
Yep, this is the only navy blue in existence right now. We will probably put them up if people are interested in them. I wore it for a reason. Anyway, here's a leadoff hit on a sinker by White.
He's carried it into this start. And he's going to shoot one into right field on a 3-2 pitch for a base hit. That means speed is on the base pass.
All right. And now a walk. So he got himself in a little bit of trouble here. And this is where it gets interesting when you want to be a contact pitcher. It's in traffic situations. Sometimes it's almost all the time. It's better if you can reach back for a punch out or if you can get a double play. So let's see what happens here with Robbie Ray. It's a first pitch to Dubon. Not bunting. I bet you they were probably thinking about bunting. Instead, he goes and pops up. That's about as an empty and at bat as you can possibly have. First and second, no outs, leadoff hitter up. You need to move the runners over in a 0-0 game. Walt White selects to have Dubon swing away here, which I'm I'm going to now, of course, I'm going to Monday morning quarterback that and say he shouldn't have done that. But it did not work out. Pop up to short. And now here is Michael Harris. Ooh, off the glove. Exploding glove. Adames with a nice recovery. So exploding glove could have been a double play, but Robbie Ray instead gets exploding glove. And they do get an out, though. So 2 pitches later, he's already got 2 outs, and then he's going to finish the deal here by getting Ozzie to roll it over to Matt Chapman. So first and second, no outs. Immediately gets 3 quick outs. A very poor at-bat by Dubon. And then Michael Harris hits a ground ball. They get 1 out, and then Ozzie rolls over. So a very efficient way of getting out of that. Matt Olson here. He's going to get his second hit left on left on a sinker versus Robbie. So another leadoff man on here in the 7th. Here's Drake Baldwin. And immediately he's going to hit into a potential double play. Slider, there's 1. Adames back to first. Safe. So every time he's gotten in a little bit of trouble, he's immediately gotten a quick out. 1-2 change up here to Riley, and Riley has been out front of all these changeups. I mean, that one's middle, but the timing is off, so the contact is weak, and he pops it out to right, and then 2 outs. Another out on a changeup here to Joey Bart. When did Joey Bart get on Atlanta? I guess that happened recently. They traded him, right, from Pittsburgh. Pops it out to Lee, and that got Robbie Ray an 8th inning of work, and it starts with a 1-pitch out.
Players out on defense for the Giants.
Change up down. Rare error by Matt Chapman. So let's see if he immediately gets another quick out here. Gets the 3-2, so it was a little bit different. And another mishit pop-up. It's weird, all the weird pop-ups he's getting on his sinker. But I'm just going to say this is it's just kind of a BP fastball compared to his 4-seam. It's weird that it's gotten this much weird contact, in my opinion. Sinker here. Dubon shoots it the other way. Now we got trouble. Ball's going into the corner. Second and third, 1 out. Tony's not getting him, leaving him in there. Michael Harris, 3-2 count. Slider here. It's going to be a sac fly. Barracoto comes in and catches it. He's going to gun that in.
And his throw is going to be late.
That run is unearned because of the Chapman error that led it off. And then Robbie Ray will go ahead and finish his outing here out with Ozzie Albies changeup below the zone. So if anything I've noticed, he did do a good job locating most of his changeups for balls, and the Braves were a little over anxious. But I just think what he did well in this game was he made some big pitches when he needed to. I don't think his stuff looked particularly great. I think if you're evaluating Robbie Ray, you're going to have a lot of pause. You're going to need a good ballpark to play him in. So I say all that to say he did throw 8 good innings here, but I don't think I was that impressed. He'd be a nice piece to fill some innings and fill a role, but he's not a scary pitcher anymore. He just doesn't feel like it to me. That's my honest assessment of Robbie right now. Just not a scary pitcher, an interesting pitcher. I don't, he's gotten some results with this sinker. I'm not really sure why yet, because metrically there's no reason why this pitch should be working. Let's see how much he's jacked up the sinker usage here over the past few games. So it was at 0% in April. It creeped up to, he had a game in May where he threw it 13%, and then now it's started to become part of his game, all the way up to 30.9% here in June. And then this last game was the high water mark at almost 40% sinker in this game. So kind of sucks because this guy's like semi-performing right now for the Giants, but I think every single team around the league is going to say, we don't really want to give up anything for this guy. That would be my guess. That would be my guess. And I'm not sure what the Giants are going to do. They're in one of the worst spots ever where they need to trade, but they have a lot of assets that people aren't going to want. So pretty crazy. Now I'm going to hop back into chat here. Ray does sell the changeup well due to the scream/grunt every pitch. That's also a possibility of why it's working. It's just selling it, making it feel like you're throwing that ball as hard as you can, and that's throwing some hitters off. Austin Riley, for one, seemed a little thrown off in that game. Like Greinke, I remember him saying he grunts louder on changeups more than anything else to try to fool the hitter. Greinke definitely did that. He would up his decibels on the changeup for sure. Acquiring team has to ask themselves, is this dude a playoff starter for us? I would say no. But that's at the moment. All right, what else is here in the chat? How long do you wait to assess a pitcher hitter making a change in their approach or mechanics? Does it depend on what the change is? To what extent can you attribute success to it being a new look? Every situation's different. You always want to gather as much sample size as possible, but sometimes your intuition can steer you in the right place pretty quickly. So it just depends. Depends on what the change is. And you also have to understand how the player feels with it too. I mean, player feel is super important, and player confidence and all that sort of thing too. All right. So those were the first two pitchers in the chat to watch at. We had Shane Greene on earlier. We talked a little bit of Chavez's criticisms earlier. And then we went and looked at Sonny Gray's performance and Robbie Ray's performance. I think Robbie's great. I just spit facts. Straight facts. I just know that there's going to be some skeptical people out there when they're trying to acquire him. That's all. I know the way these people think. I will say the Braves could be a spot where Ray could start for them October. That would be bad, but I mean, you know, that would mean there's no Schwellenbach. Any word on Schwellenbach? They'd love to have him back, right? I think the Braves need a little more impact, but right now they're drowning. The Phillies are climbing fast. So they're a possibility for sure, but it's sketchy for sure. All right, who else did I have on the thumb today? Oh yeah, AJ Ewing, Junior Caminero, Charlie Condon, and there's also Chris Sale from that game. So kind of want to see if I can't find Charlie Condon minor league scenario here. So let me try to pull up my dashboard. Charlie Condon is a very high draft pick of the Rockies out of University of Georgia. He has been in AAA for a bit now. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten the call yet, personally, but I'm going to try to go ahead and find him here on the main screen here for you guys. So here is Charlie Condon. Minors season game log 2026. All right, so Charlie Condon 2 home run game yesterday. I'm just gonna look at some homers here. We'll find some homers here for the kid in Albuquerque. As you know, this was an interesting draft pick by the Rockies. You know, they need. I always say they should really do a better job of drafting more pitchers, in my opinion, because it's so hard to get them. So, but if you have a can't miss guy at the top of the draft as a position player, that's where you would go. That's what they did in this case with Charlie Condon. He's a big power guy. They are lacking that in their lineup right now. Here's a home run off of Christian Javier to the opposite field. That's Albuquerque. Mind you, this place plays like Coors, but it doesn't really matter because he's going to play in Coors. That's an Oppo Taco line drive. Trying to look at the swing here a little bit. Just a little very basic swing there. Not a lot to it, but that's his calling card, is that he can create power to any field. Got exit velo on that. That was only 99.4 to the Oppo. To the Oppo Taco field. Let's see if we can find the next one I want to watch. Let's watch this one at Las Vegas. This one is at Vegas. This is off of Joey Estes. He's been in the big leagues. It's going to come on a cutter here. Oh, baby. And they're going to put a team in this place. Just a nice high fly ball to left. They wanted Chris Bryant so much, they signed him and his college doppelganger. Honestly, very similar setup in the stance. Like that slight crouch in the knees. Totally. Crazy. Chris Bryant's situation sucks for everybody involved. Yeah, it does. It does. It does. It does. There's no doubt about that. All right, next game. Albuquerque and El Paso. This is homer number 6 off of Fernando Sanchez. This is 104.5. I would agree. It's a very similar setup to Chris Bryant. Anyway, once you get a ball in the air in Albuquerque, it's see you later. That ball almost leaves the entire stadium at only 104. Can you imagine if you hit a ball 110? That thing's going over the scoreboard easy. Did it hit that person back there? I think it hits this person back there. Check out this person walking right under the blue scoreboard back there. Wham! Right in the head. Oh my God, you hit that guy. Guess he shouldn't have been standing there. All right, that was that one. Then we got another one here versus El Paso. Yep. Oop. This is off JP Sears. This is 107. This might be a super bomb. Oh, yeah, forget that. That's going over that building for sure. Over the summer pavilion, out of the entire stadium. Damn, that was a bomb. So that's a nice shot right there. Then we got another one on the next day. So he's been hitting homers. This is part of why I'm surprised he hasn't been called up yet. Why not? Get him up there. Get his feet wet. I'll be shocked if he's not up there by the end of the year. Another breaking ball from Yeager. Oh, boy. And that's deep out there. Over the 428 sign. That was bottom of the ninth. Was that a walk-off? Yeah, that was a walk-off homer. Yeah, walk-off. How hard he hit that one? 105.3 at 26. All right, now we get to this month. This one's at Salt Lake. Ooh, you're going to like this field if you've never seen it. It's got a really nice background. This is homer number 9. Changeup from Alek Manoah. Alek Manoah sighting. And we'll see you later, ball. They get a new stadium in Salt Lake? That looks different than I remember. Anyway, little home run there off of the legend Alek Manoah. And then here's one at Tacoma. Let's see who he gets here. This one is going to be off of Gabe Mosser. Little Oppo piece in Tacoma. The Rockies are like the one team where you're like, oh, it's PCL, but you're like, but they play at Coors Field, so it's like whatever, you know. Anyway, there's another home run that went to the opposite field, and then he's got a couple recently. He's got this one. Oh wait, he has a 2-homer day versus Tacoma here, so he's been hitting a lot of bombs. A lot of bombs. Who's this coming off of? This is coming off of Casey Lawrence, who's been up quite a bit with the Mariners over the years. Salt Lake trying to make themselves as enticing as possible for expansion. It opened spring 2025. That's crazy because if they get expansion, they're going to have to build another stadium. So it'll be a double dip. And I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win the bid for expansion. I really do. I think they have a big amount of money, on the books. All right, let's watch the 2 from last night, and then we'll move on. So here's the 2 from last night. This is homer number 16. So he's up to 17 pumps in AAA. This one's off Brett Carey here in Albuquerque. Looks like you just can't throw any medium speed spin in the zone, or he's going to clip you. And then the second one is this one. Also off of Brett Carey, another slider. So how about we try to throw this guy a fastball or something, huh? Dead center. There used to be a hill out there like the old in Houston, but not anymore. Now they just rounded it off. Actually brought the fence in for some reason in center field. But that ball's crushed. So That's Charlie Condon. Wanted to just touch on him for a minute. He's pretty highly rated, I believe. Let's see how high Charlie is on the list now as of the new update. Number 70 at the current moment. 55 hit, 55 power, 40 run, 55 arm, 45 field, 55 overall. Condon was underappreciated as an unrecruited high schooler who redshirted his freshman year at Georgia. And then he hit 62 home runs in 2 years at Georgia. Hit 433 with a OPS of over 1,500 when he won the Golden Spikes and was picked 3rd overall. So you know what it is. It's a power bat. These are the actual stats at the moment in AAA right now. He's hitting 280 with a 411 on base, 975 OPS. Yeah, safe to say they're probably going to call him up soon. So this is probably a call-up preview. He does have 49 walks too, so doing a really good job. 400 on base. I know it's PCL, but he's pretty good, so I wanted to point him out. He's on the rock shows. So we'll see what happens here. Colorado is a bit of an outfield logjam, though. Johnston and Rumfield have been their 2 best hitters, so Condon ain't playing first base. Yeah, that's true. They still have DH. They can rotate people through the DH spot, but I'd be surprised he doesn't get called up. I mean, they're gonna want him to get his feet wet this year before he's probably in the big leagues the whole year next year. Does Utah have a potential owner in place? Is it the same as the Jazz Mammoth? I think it is. They have some real money behind their bid. I don't know everything, but I've heard some whispers that their bid is very strong. I guess you could move Carrick to second base or third base. I mean, they're going to have to find a way to coexist anyway, so they're going to have to figure that out. He used to sit more into his legs at UGA, just like KB. They stood him up a little bit, but still has the same KB vertical bat path. Yeah, once we get his swing metrics, you're going to see probably a very high number on the attack angle. How's the swing and miss? Yeah, I guess we can go look at Prospect Savant and find that out. All right, here's what the metrics say on Prospect Savant for Charlie Condon. So yeah, there is some swing and miss in here. Almost 40% swing and miss. That's 15th percentile for the level. So yeah, that's a concern. 40% is too high. Even if you have good power, you want to be a little better than that. So yeah, that's the biggest issue. Swing and miss. Everything else seems to be pretty good, but it's inevitable he's going to get his shot at some point. 23.4% K rate right now. See, the K rate's not bad, but he does have swing and miss in his game. I do think, you know, the balls aren't moving as much at Albuquerque too. You have to take that into consideration. Then again, they won't move as much at Coors. So there's probably a little bit of difficulty there analyzing that, but there's some swing and miss. Doesn't seem like it's super scary, but we'll see. 23.4% K rate will play. That's true. All right. All right, so that's it for Charlie Condon. Did Yama pitch last night? Because I'd be willing to watch Yama as my final pitcher of the day. We don't have to watch Sale. I missed the whole Dodger game last night, so, or yesterday afternoon or whatever it was. Dodgers 4, Padres 2, box score. No, he didn't pitch last night. He pitched a couple days ago. Emmett Sheen pitched yesterday. So I missed that. 40% was swing rate? Oh, yeah, his whiff percentage isn't bad. You're right, only 28%. I don't know why I saw swing and said that was bad, 39.9. So you're right, it's not bad. It's not bad. Good call. Sorry about that. Wasn't thinking. Whiff rate just under 30. Good call. I think the low swing rate might be a good thing. A lot of hitters are just struggling because they swing too much in the big leagues, to be honest with you. These two guys are tough. Tanner Scott and Luke Weaver. I'm not going to go back 2 days on the Dodger stuff. Sorry, guys. So no Yama, no Roki. I know Roki's been struggling. I saw he was crying in the dugout or whatever. We'll get on him this week when we go back through. Let me just look at a few hitters and then maybe just touch on Luke Weaver. We'll touch on Luke Weaver's Savant page because he's on a roll right now. Of course, we mention it now, and then he'll probably lose it. But yeah, Luke Weaver's in a crazy streak right now. He's got a 2.06 through 33 games. You go to his game logs right now. There hasn't been a run scored since April the 30th. On April the 30th, he allowed 2 versus Washington. Since then, he is on a roll. 11 games scoreless in May, and he's already got up to 10 in June. Now, June in particular has been quite impressive with only 1 hit allowed. His last 10 games in June, 10 and a third, 1 hit, 1 walk, 15 strikeouts, .19 whip. That is wild. That is really wild to see. And it's still the same pitches, so not a whole lot's changed, just executing and getting himself on a roll here. I also think, you know, you see how it all works together. The rest of the bullpen's been pitching really well too. Raley, Brazaban, Devin to some extent, had a couple hiccups here, but when everybody pitches well, it does carry over, and then you start pitching in your role a little bit better. But man, he's on, I guess that makes over a 20-game scoreless stretch. So about 20 away from the record, but pretty amazing. All right, let's look at Ewing. Ewing had a nice home run yesterday for the Metros. He's been very good. He continues to be very good. Close to an 800 OPS. That short swing is playing. He homered yesterday. He's been a bright spot. You know, you look at his hits in the recent going. 2 hits versus the Cubs, then 1, 1, 2, and 2. So he's hitting each of his last 5 games, batting .310 this month. And he did homer yesterday versus the Phillies. So let's watch Ewing versus the Phillies yesterday. He also got some hits off of Wheeler the other day. I just like the quality of AJ Ewing at bat. Honestly, I prefer him to bench. It's still early, but in the moment right now, I think I prefer him to bench. I just think it's a little more sustainable what he's doing. All right, first at bat versus Shugart yesterday, and he's going to clip him. Comes in the game off the bench, sinker, and here comes the sweeper. And this game is tied. He's got that pull side power, but that's not his game. But he's quick enough and consistent enough in zone to not miss the mistakes when they're there. So he gets a little sweeper middle down in, jumps right on it with that short stroke, 104-1, 25 degrees. Raise the apple. Here's the short swing. I just think see, to me, this guy's kind of has more of a Chavez approach. Like it's a good strike zone. He sprays the ball over the field, but then his power, of course, it's to the pull side, but it's more of a benefit of just he's so ready to hit that when he gets these spinners in the middle, he doesn't miss them. This is a little 85 sweeper in the middle, and he clicks that all over that. Plus, I love his speed too. All right, so that was his first at bat, and then he's gonna get on, I think, a little bit because Alvarado can't field, but also a little bit because the speed becomes a factor here in this at-bat. Little dribbler. Alvarado's got to come get it. Obviously, Ewing's too fast anyway. Alvarado doesn't do anything there. Also heads up by him getting to second base here, which was crucial if they were to get a hit here in a big spot. He'd be in scoring position, but this is another thing that speed does. You're going to be able to get extra hits all the time. You're going to put pressure on the defense. So I like his tool package a lot. I like both of their tool packages a lot. I just think Ewing swings a little more repeatable and dependable. Bench might be a little more dynamic physically, but it's close. It's close, and it's interesting. And then he did have an at-bat versus Yohan Duran here in the 9th, so just curious to watch him battle against one of the nastiest guys. He's going to get out, but I want to see how he battles here.
Kind of epitomizes that. Slashed foul by Ewing. Strikeout to walk ratio. Fastball right there for a strike.
I think that's a good take, even though it shaves the corner.
86. Very impressive in his rookie year.
Knuckle curve down.
He's got a great eye at the plate.
I'll probably wrap it up soon because I have to go to lunch with my wife. We'll have another show tomorrow. All right, so 3-2, disgusting splinker down, and he beats it in the ground. But yeah, man, overall, he's been really good. He has, to me, I love his bat tracking because he combines, we've talked about this a lot, but this is one of my favorite things to find on a young player. A really good swing length. So he's only at 6.5 feet. That takes him 0.8 feet below league average, making that a very short to the ball type of swing path. But then you look at the bat speed, and it's not far off league average. So you could combine over 70 miles an hour of bat speed with a below average amount of swing length. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I think that's a very good combination. It's one of the reasons I'm excited about him. Not to mention his defense as well. I like him out there. He's fast as hell, and he impacts the game in a lot of different ways. So A.G. Ewing's been very good. Now, here's a guy who impacts the game in exactly one way. And we just watched him probably on the most recent stream. But it's Junior Caminero, who's now up to 22 home runs, and he's hitting 292. You wouldn't think with this much bat movement he'd be able to do it, but he's that good of a hitter that I don't care about his defense being the worst ever at third. I don't care about his base running. I just need this man in the batter's box because this man drops bombs, and he's off to in a crazy run right here of home runs. We watched the three home run game the other day versus Kansas City, and then all he did versus the Diamondbacks is homer in all 3 games. So let's watch Junior Caminero homer in all 3 games versus the Diamondbacks this weekend. So Diamondbacks Rays game number 1. Here's the first home run off Zach Gallen.
Against the Royals yesterday. He takes a strike.
Benj also has a little bit of a small swing length, but if you watch his load, it takes a lot longer to get off than a Ewing. So there's a little bit going on with the load that's not showing up in the swing length. But there's a reason why Benj is late on a lot of pitches up. And I think it's because it takes a long time for him to get his swing off. All right, here's Junior Caminero anyway. He's down on a 1-2 count. Actually should have been frozen here with the strikeout, but no challenge. And then he's going to capitalize and hammer this fastball. And it's above the zone. Like, he's got the longest swing in the league, Junior Caminero. He also swings the hardest in the league. That's why when he hits it, it's forget it. But for you to be able to cover 94 up above the zone with this much hand movement and this long of a swing is just a gift. And that's why I think he's special. And this could be like a 500 home run club type of guy. And if the Rays aren't going to extend him, man, I would love to try to pry him away from the Rays at some point while he's still young and give this guy a nice extension and just pencil him in at DH, basically. Like, if I was the Red Sox, this would be the type of guy I would want. Like, this guy's just going to hit 40 every year. There's just no doubt. And he's got way better bat-to-ball skills than you can imagine for a guy who swings so hard. Look at that. Above the zone. Ridiculous. All right, game number 2. Diamondbacks, Rays. Caminero, 1 for 4, home run off of Cabrera.
That's good enough for.
We only have 14 likes today in the stream. Come on, guys. All you got to do is click that thumbs up for 2 seconds. Doesn't Junior also have a really flat swing? Yes, one of the flattest in the game. And does that help with average? Yeah, because he's going to spray more. He's going to get to more pitches. He's going to have less whiff rate than other guys. If he combined a really uphill swing with the longest swing in the game, he would miss everything above the zone. But this allows his contact rate to be a lot better on high fastballs, like what we just saw. So you don't have to swing up on the ball. You can do it Junior Caminero style. Anyway, 94-mile-an-hour sinker in, and he beats that one and clips it down the line. So this is home run number 2 of the 3 we're watching. And this one, he did hit it very high, but he also hit it very hard. 107 at 44 for the home run right there off of Cabrera. Here's the angle on this one. I like the City Connect for the Rays, by the way. I'm not a fan of all City Connects, but I like that one a lot. And then he homered again yesterday. So this was the 3rd one. 3 for 3 with a walk. So let's actually watch everything from yesterday, since he went 3 for 3 with a walk, showing you that he's more than just a power hitter. Merrill Kelly on the mound. Curveball, ball 1. Also, yeah, good call, Dan. Still only 23 years old. Not even. Throw me some likes, fellas and ladies and gentlemen. That only helps with the engagement algorithms. All right, slider, base hit coming here. Little adjustability in his swing, which you would not expect for a guy who swings so hard, but Junior's got it. He's got length in his swing. Beautiful job adjusting on a low pitch here. I mean, again, you got to have more than one swing in your bag. I totally am a believer in that. All right, second at bat, he's going to draw a walk. Also, you can smell the fear on pitchers against Junior quite a bit. There's not a lot of challenge pitches coming in the zone to him. A lot of people are trying to trick him because they don't want to give him anything he's looking for it. 35 legs. All right, that's a lot better. We can do more, though. We can do more. We got 64 people in here. All right, so draws the walk in at bat number 2. Here's at bat number 3. Four-seam challenge fouled off. A little late on that, and then they're going to come back with another one. And guess what? He's not going to be late the second time. So Merrill Kelly got a little bit of a false sense of security with that foul ball on the first one. And then Junior Caminero makes an instant adjustment and hits that ball, honestly, in a place I don't think I've ever seen anybody hit it. 113.5 at 29. Where did this go? This went all the way over the concourse in left center. This is the furthest home run I've ever seen in the Trop from a righty. Never seen a ball go up there in BP or anything. Gosh, bless it. And you see he's got a very aggressive forward move. The hands are doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's all things that if he came up as a rookie, I'd be like, I don't know if you can do all that. Like this whole move right here is a lot, but he's just gifted. The fact that he can execute and deliver on the ball with all of that movement, but he's just got great timing, great hand-eye. So that ball's destroyed, and then for good measure, he's going to get another hit here in his last at-bat.
That's better than video games.
Sinker in ball, and then sinker, facing Johnny Lasagna. And he's able to get jammed and bloop in a hit here. Remember that? We talked to a lot of prospects talking about how good hitters get jammed. Caminero uses that to his advantage there. Obviously, they play a little deeper with him at the plate because he hits so many bombs. And he benefits right there. All right, let's check his page real quick, and then we'll do probables. So, like, what else would you really want here out of Junior Caminero? 100th percentile bat speed. So you know he's hitting it hard. He's still managing to square it up 50% of the time, which is abnormal for somebody who swings out of his shoes all the time. The walk rate's pretty good because he can smell fear on the pitchers, and they just throw him balls. Here's that unique bat tracking that we were talking about. So again, 80 miles an hour, that's number 1 in the league, but his swing length at 8.6 feet is also tops in the league. So that should expose you for way more swing and miss. It just hasn't been the case with him, which is so special. And then you go look at the actual attack stuff with Junior. 24-degree tilt, that's way below average. Keeps his shoulders super level. Tries to come through super flat on the ball. Does manage to have somewhat of an attack angle at times, slightly up, but it's 10 degrees is normal. So he's not even above average on his attack angle. Just really good at being flat to the ball and clipping the bottom part of that, creating that elite backspin. So that's what it comes down to with Junior. Just incredible, level of force coming through the zone, but also he's pretty dang accurate with that thing, with that barrel, and he never gets too scoopy to get beat up top, consistently. Let's see here. Occasionally under some fastballs, but nothing crazy. You have to be crazy to throw him a breaking ball. And then, but even like this, he's not late on fastballs. He's very close to being on time with tons of fastballs. Look at that. That's amazing. So, I don't know. He's an all-timer. If I were a big-time franchise and I had the money to extend him and I had the prospect capital and I needed power on my organization, I'd be throwing everything possible at the Rays and see if they go for it. Not saying they would right now, but they should. All right, so we got to get in touch with Evan Phillips now to bring him on next, Spectre. He can be on the list. Little reminder tomorrow before we hop into probables on the back end of the show. Tomorrow is going to be Nasim Nunez. He's going to come on the back end of the stream around noon. So first half of the stream, we'll do everything normal, and then Nasim will come on the back end of the stream, and we'll hit that. Wednesday, my show will be from Milwaukee in my hotel in the morning. And then I'll be on ESPN Wednesday night. If you missed it at the beginning of the show, we had a pretty fun conversation with Shane Greene. So thanks for Shane coming on. And thanks for everybody who's been with me today. If you want to be in the Discord, don't hesitate. If you're on TikTok and you're excited about what we're doing, come over to YouTube and subscribe. That's about it. Appreciate everybody that's been here in the stream today. Continue to subscribe and give me some likes. And I will see you tomorrow morning on the show. That's it for today, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Have a great day, everybody. See you later.